Hello, everybody. Welcome to another show, the Tim and Joe Show. What did we start calling this thing? The Monday Night Tabletop? It never kind of stuck, did it?
I don't know. Yeah, I wasn't paying attention. Apparently.
Yeah, I know. Just a name,
Yeah.
just a name. But we came up with what the nerd culture geek crossroads. I thought that had some meat to it. That sounded kind of cool.
That's a long title, though.
It is a goddamn long title.
Yeah,
The Tim and Joe Show rolls kind of better, doesn't it?
yeah, it's a little easier to remember. Yeah.
All right, Tim and Joe Show. Welcome everybody to the Tim and Joe Show. For all two of you who are watching the show right now, much appreciated.
Much.
God, so a lot of stuff going on. So we're gonna a little overview of the show today. We're gonna talk about what's cool in the week. Talk about some news, things that are popping over in Troll Lord Games. Going to do not one, but two unboxings, right? And then we're going to get into the meaty stuff of the show. We're going to get into how we each prep for campaigns because we have a completely different approach to both running and prepping our games, I think. Safe to say, right?
Well, I would say so, yeah.
Yeah. So I figure we get into what do you do now? What do I do now? And we're back and forth.
Yeah.
Honestly, I was thinking this, we were talking before the show, this how to prep for a new campaign is probably going to take a couple episodes to cover, 2, maybe 3, who knows. It's kind of neat. Maybe we can compile it into one big one later, Tim, and put it out there, you know?
Yeah, no, that sounds good. Yeah. You're the video idea guy. So, no, that sounds... See how good it is. It might all just suck, and we just
I'm sure it'll suck, but you know,
yeah,
that's a given. The Analog Man Cave, Up in Smoke Monday Night Roundup. Up in Smoke Monday Night Roundup. I like the Up in Smoke part of it. You know that
you like the Cheech and Chong reference.
Yeah. That's kind of, you can't really go wrong with Cheech and Chong. You know, Thraxis climbing that mountain. No. Welcome. Yep, climbing that mountain is my one subscriber that I have. So. If you want to keep him
subscriber.
I have one subscriber. I don't know what he pays, a couple bucks.
Oh, is that why he's got like a little thing next to his name?
Yep,
okay. I didn't know what that meant. All right.
Yep. So he's a subscriber, and I think the color of the little dot in his, that's shows how long he's been. It's kind of like the lesbian bandana thing, the old code. You know what I mean? The color and location of a bandana.
I have no idea what that means.
You never heard of that? Oh, no. Yeah, that's a thing. Back in the 80s and 90s, you walk into a lesbian club. Not that I've ever been at a lesbian club. Anyway, you walk into a lesbian club, and then there was this. We're talking like the wallet to the chain style. You know what I mean? There's right.
Yeah.
So this kind of scene we're talking about there, right? With the short hair and the beat your ass, So there was this code of bandanas. It was the color of the bandana, right? And there was also the location it was tied, the leg, the right leg, the lower right leg, the upper arm, the wrist, wherever it was tied showed you what you were into. You know what I mean?
So I didn't know. I never broke the lesbian code. Apparently,
see. I know you've been around the block, but you never knew the lesbian code. You learned.
No, I did not know that.
You can actually Google that shit. There's a bandana lesbian code. Yeah, I'm serious. It's fucking wild.
If anyone would know, I'm sure you're the expert on it.
I used to hang out at interesting places. That's where I like the fun. I like the fun stuff.
And by the way, guys, this is not one of our topics. We're actually
no. This is just a bonus topic for y'all. Yeah. Now you know.
He does know too much about it. He knows a little too much about some
deviant shit. Well, that's my 5 Ds I used to go for whenever I went to a bar or a club or something like that. Mm-hmm. I needed to have 5 Ds. I needed danger, deviance, decadence, debauchery, and triple Ds. Those are the 5 Ds. If you might call triple Ds 3 Ds.
I was gonna say, wouldn't that
But yeah, that's what you have to have. So yeah, that was my code at all the clubs. If it had all that, I was there. If it didn't, You're welcome, Thraxis. Anywho, on to the cool shit. Speaking of cool shit, Tim, cool shit of the week. Anything good going on?
All right. I guess you're gonna start with me. Yes. All right. So Joe and I kind of came up. We're talking a little bit before the show, so this is my cool thing for the week.
Ooh.
I received the Pendragon starter set.
Okay.
The other day. And just on the side, they ship it like this. There is no box that came around it, so I was a little annoyed by that.
Any dents?
Yes. Yeah, Joe loves it when I get this.
We're jumping right into the unboxing here. All right.
So let's unbox it. Let's see what's in here. I don't know how many people out there play Pendragon or have played. It's one of those games that I've had since I start getting them? I want to say late 80s, early 90s. I can't remember exactly. That's what.
I remember it being in Dragon magazine a lot, and I was like, "This would be so cool," but I was broke and I was a teenager, and I told myself, "If I ever get the money, and I got the money over COVID because I wasn't hitting the bars with the double D's and triple D's and all the 5Ds and all that. So I was like, oh, extra money. Let me buy stuff I always wanted but never could afford.
Right.
As I picked up the old first edition Pendragon and a couple things with it,
Yeah, it was one of those cool things. I like the idea because I'm a big King Arthur fan. I did a lot of research on it. I ran a short campaign with King Arthur, very King Arthur themed. So
cool.
So I guess this is just what's in the box, kind of goes through that.
Okay. Climbing the Mountain is affirming that the lesbian bandana code has a lot of potential for role playing in an RPG setting. Definitely a valid topic. Thank you, Climbing That Mountain. Much appreciated.
There you go.
You could really, if you think about it. I mean, it's no different than
as soon as you started talking about it, I was just thinking like a thieves guild where they could wear the bandana on different parts depending on which arm you put it on. It's safe to come in, it's not, or something like that.
Yep.
All right. Cool. So the first, what is it? So the first book 1 is The Adventure of the Sword and Stone, which is the beginning adventure for the campaign. So this is pretty much an entire campaign in here, the way they have it set up. Because a lot of this is reprinted from their older books. I'm not going to go too much into them.
By campaign, is like an adventure path, Tim? Is it something like an adventure path, or was it more the old school
basically, module? You're becoming. Well, this is a solo adventure. Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, nice.
That is cool.
Shoot that over to Matt.
That is cool. Oh, yeah. Now you can play with yourself some more, Matt.
Yeah, that's what he likes.
He does. I can't get anybody to play with him. Book 2, The Fabled Realm. And that's where you, of course, start becoming young King Arthur.
All right. What's the art like in there? You hold up some art. Let's see what we got going on.
I know I got a lot of glare, but
that's all right. That's all right.
Here's like a map, kind of like the map style of it.
Oh, that's pretty good, actually. I like that.
Yeah, the only issue that's with it is it's the details are tiny ass details and everything. Okay. The map's beautiful though.
You mean the font?
You need a magnifying. What's that?
The font on the map is tiny. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, the map. Well, just the details of it are kind of small. Let's see here. And then they have a little bit of art, and they just kind of have that style of, I don't know what you would call it. I call it like the 1970s Highlight magazine style.
Highlight magazine.
Remember Highlight magazine?
Yeah. I remember Highlight. I don't remember Highlight magazine, but I remember Highlight. They had a couple.
Yeah, the only reason I ever grabbed the magazine was to find the little, if they had, find the pineapple in this picture, and it would be hidden in the picture. Yeah, it was a cool page, but it's kind of got that old style.
Oh yeah. Like for an old tome or something. Yeah.
And then I think the last book here is the actual campaign where you become king.
Okay.
Last part of the thing where you become king. And then
now Tim, these 3 modules, or whatever you want to call them, Adventure Path books, are they reprints, or did they create them for this edition?
Well, I mean, I don't know because I just opened it up. But it follows what they've done in the past. They've had the we do our first Rob reach around of the night.
All righty, here we go.
Yeah.
I need to have hold it.
This is one of a boy king is like the beginning part of this one here. And it's where you become, king and everything like that.
And another reach around, so we are going for
I'm just putting it back. No, this is it.
There we go. Oh, it's looping. How do you unloop it? God damn it. There you go. We're still learning here, boys and girls. Stupid ass looping.
But then they have other regions you can explore too.
Okay.
So like once you become king, then you can do some. One of the interesting rules that they have in it is during wintertime you can't adventure at all. It's like the countryside shuts down, and then you have to develop social skills or something like that. So you have these sliding scales of skills and virtues and vices and stuff. So it's pretty interesting. And then I guess they have a bunch of these things. They're just like appendice. This is overland movement. This one is visiting a foreign court. So I guess just different.
Are they like loose leaf or are they 3-ring binder pages?
No, they're just paper. One page things. Yeah.
The recipe for getting lost or torn real fast.
Yeah. Okay. And then they have, let's see here, Knights of Gore, Knights of Lothian. I can't my pronunciation. Okay. So I guess they give the stats. So they're like little cards.
Oh, okay. More font that nobody our age could read.
Yeah. It's tough, but yeah.
All right. Looks like baseball cards or something with stats on the back.
Yeah, right. So like if you go in different areas, they have different types of knights and everything. So and then it looks like they have some full page. What the hell is this? Oh. So like this is like so you got Sir Clarion.
All right.
You got a full page illustration. And you turn around the back, it's got like history of events, the dates, your shield.
It's kind of neat.
And then it opens up too. So then it opens up, and then that's your character sheet, your traits, and different thing like that. So these must be like pre-made characters for the game, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
So it's got like looks like about a dozen of these different ones.
Okay.
And then last but least, dice.
Nice. All sixes, huh? And a 20?
Well, it gives you six-sided and one 20-sided.
Okay. It looks like are they wood? Or do they just have a wood look?
No, they're just those like, kind of simple acrylic, or I think it's acrylic or something. Like plastic dice. That's cool. Not too bad. I mean, it's pretty cool. I just have to one of these days just kind of go through it, read it. Because I mean, it's always one I've wanted to explore and try, but when I ran my King Arthur campaign, I used the hell out of the books, but I used GURPS to run, the system to run the campaign. So
that's cool.
All right, Joe, let's see what's
my cool thing of the week. Actually, two things. I started for like the third time because every time I tried to start watching this thing, whatever reason, I fell asleep, got tired, some phone call, yada yada. I started the third time. I'm finally sticking with it, and it's pretty good. Blue-Eyed Samurai over on Netflix. I heard a lot of good things about it from people.
Blue-Eyed Samurai.
It's interesting because it's after the shogunate closed down all of Japan to the foreigners, right? And there was a few mixed people in there, and there was a blue-eyed person who ended up trying to, revenge, blah blah blah. Trained as a samurai, and so she's half Japanese, half white, something. And so it's a
female like protagonist then?
Yeah, basically. You don't, spoiler alert, but it's fucking obvious. It's a female from the first time you see her. Right. So, but it's pretty good, actually. I'm a couple episodes in. Good characters, a good, interesting plot, and character development. It looks like there's good arcs. And from what I heard, everybody who's seen it has liked it. So, and people whose opinions I trust, so that's kind of a cool thing. So I'm sort of getting into that and enjoying it.
So not Rob's opinion, so I understand.
No, I don't trust his opinion at all. Rob likes everything. I wish I could have I wish I could have such I don't know, what do you call it? A passion for positive attitude and a passion for shit shows as Rob does, because he likes the bad stuff, even though it sucks. He'll sit there and defend it and like it and blah blah blah. But I wish I could be that happy watching shit, but I can't. So anyway. But the other thing I got is I got something in the mail from Troll Lord Games. So maybe as a segue
to switch it over.
Yeah. Maybe it's a segue to the Troll Lord thing. We were talking about this earlier.
Troll Lords, yeah. Mm-hmm.
This is interesting. I'll present the screen here. Let me remember. I have to show the tab. Let's see. Close all the porn tabs out first. There we go. Okay, now I can share the tab with you. Anyway. This is big news that popped today. I got an email. It's really cool. Basically, Troll Lord Games got a license for Gary Gygax's stuff. The estate is giving them a license to print shit. Now, before they were reprinting the things they already printed, like Gigsburg and stuff like that, right? But now they just announced today they are reprinting an ass ton of things. They are reprinting the Gygaxian Fantasy World Kickstarter coming up in March. It's like 7 or 8 books that he put out, like the Thieves' Cant book and Book of Names and all this other kind of stuff, right? So that's popping,
Oh,
right?
it's funny you should mention that.
Why?
Oh, you'll see in a bit.
All right, okay. So that's the Canting Crew. That was the Thieves' Cant book, right? So yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Then what they're gonna have all the Castle Zagging shit. That shit I got the box set. I believe I literally got the last box set for reasons that I can't explain live that they ever sold to anybody. I got the last box set ever, and
Oh, that's cool.
right. And so they are reprinting it. It looks like they're gonna excuse me. They're going to have all 24 neighborhoods of the city. Right now, there's only a handful out. There was a bunch that were already done, but when Gale pulled the plug, they couldn't publish them. Right.
Right.
Gonna have all the Eastmark setting is going to be expanded, the Manson, the Mouth, the Mandus, and 17 levels of the dungeon. Right now, you only have the upper works and like the first basement level of the dungeon for Castle Zagag, right? That's it.
Okay.
They already have several levels done that were ready to pop, but now they have to go back and, get them all ready again.
Right.
Luke
Right.
Gygax is involved. They're going to put out all the new stuff, and Luke is talk to his father. I saw a bit of their announcement today on YouTube, and Luke said, my father, I know what he wanted. We're going to work together. And the Steve Chenault was saying, I'm going back to 15-year-old emails with me and Gary to make sure I do what he wanted to do. At the same time, you're not going to have for the Mega Dungeon, it's not going to be written in the style of a 1977 Mega Dungeon. Right. They're going to update it. They're not going to have bullshit, stupid ass tricks and traps, right? Like, they're not. It's not going to be full of tropes and nonsense. It's going to be more updated, not for the modern audience. It's going to be updated more for things that people like in a game. You know what I mean? So that's going to be interesting.
Well, hopefully they keep some of that, because I mean, if I'm going for a Gary Gygax field, then if that's missing, then it's not
his thing. Yeah, I know. You got to have the bullshit 10-foot traps every once in a while that you need a pole for to get. You know what I mean?
Or Gary loved his 10-foot traps.
Yeah. So that's the pit trap stuff. I'm sure it'll be in there, but it won't be as much. It won't dominate it as much, And then I think they were talking about this. I'd never heard of it. The Hall of Many Planes and other games are going to come out with.
I don't know that one.
Yeah, I never heard of it either. But something that's really important to Gary, I guess, before he died, was the Kings of England and the Kings of France. I don't even know what that is.
I know. I saw that in the list, and I had no idea.
Yeah.
I'd never heard of that one before.
Me either. So I don't know what the hell it's going to be, but the complete list is over on their website there. So that's going to be interesting, guys. I'm going to keep an eye on that. Who knows how long it's going to be. During their podcast today, or the show on YouTube, they were talking about, we're trying to find all the old authors. 15 years or more, right, for some of this stuff. So they're going to try to find all the old authors and get them taken care of and work out a deal, whatever. They reached out to Talanian. Talanian is busy. He's got a lot of stuff going on with his own. Jeff Talanian, who worked shoulder to shoulder with Gary. He's been working hard on his own stuff, so it's going to be a while. He may not. He'll be sort of helping out where he can, when he can, right? But that's pretty much the thing. But I'm really looking forward to that. I can't wait. I'll add it to my collection. I'll buy the stuff I have already just to buy it again.
I know you will. Yeah.
I'll have the original first print, for the collectible value of it, and then I'll have the stuff I beat around and use, So that'd be nice. But yeah, that leads into my thing, which, let me see, how do we do this? I backed a Troll Lord Games thing. It was the Undying War. All right. Actually, let me show you this. I could share this too. Wow, that's a double Rob. I'm pulling back-to-back Robs here. Let's see. I know it's scary. So yeah. So there we go. So the Undying War. It's an interesting Kickstarter. Basically, it's all these old modules that they've takes you from 5th to 13th level. It's the A series over there. There's a shit ton of modules, and they put them into one hardcover book. And I backed it. And they 5e-ified it.
Are you talking about A series as in the original, like, AD&D series?
No, the Castles and Crusades A series of books.
Oh, okay.
All right. So it's the Castles and Crusades A series. And let me show you. Let me give you a little bit on this on the video here. Let me see. I'll make it big. Tell me if you can hear it.
Through murder, through treachery, he rose. You trusted him. All wished his demise. Reckless and cruel, loved through hate. Coburg the Undying, High Lord of Ulfstrom. He longed for more, for power, for love. But she was gone, taken from him. But he would have it all, power and his love, and the world his yoke and his war. The road to hell begins with the first step. The Undying War, a 5th edition adventure path for 1st through 13th level characters that brings an evolving storyline to your table, pulling your adventures into an epic tale. They will journey over land, through dungeons, towns, castles, and even to other planes of existence. With countless NPCs and endless hours of play, immerse yourself and your players in the world of Aird and Coburg's Undying War.
I wonder who's smoking
Your
this
journey
cigarette
begins
there.
in the simple town of Barton,
Just someone puffing
and
away
ends before the gates of hell. From monsters more mundane to beasts of legend. The Undying War, live on Kickstarter. Pledge today, and
so that's it. So I backed it to $99 level. I got the hardcover and some maps and all that, digital as well. But yeah, it really hit, pretty good. They a lot of stretch goals they were hitting, all that. So it's
basically a campaign in a box. Then,
a campaign in a box in a book. It's like 15 modules in a box in one book, So it looks pretty good. So I figured, what the hell? Let me and then I got it this week in the mail, and I just haven't done anything with it. So I have not opened it. So I will go live on the camera, boys and girls.
Ding ding ding.
Works. Boing.
Oh,
blocked out my name and all the identifying stuff. All right, so must open it up, and of course the trusty box opener I have, the K-bar knife, U.S. Marines.
For the win.
All right, so there we go. All right, let me get the sides here without killing myself.
The keyboard doesn't look very sharp, Joe.
Oh, it's decent. It's there you go.
Struggling to cut tape.
Yeah, that's more me. I had a couple in me, that's why I shouldn't be swinging a knife around with all that I had in me today. But yeah. So here we go. I'm going to pop open the box. Let me just pull it aside in case there's all the identifying thing on the very first goddamn page. Like, here you are.
Oh,
I don't need that shit, right? So, all right. Here we go, boys and girls. Is it right side up? It is. I have to turn it upside down to get it right side up.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah. So there we go.
Hardcover right on top. Then,
right on top with the hardcover. Look at that, Tim. I got no dents and no dings. Look at that.
You suck. Shut up.
Yeah, I know you would love that. I know you would love that. So good quality paper, good smell.
The bane of my existence.
Yep. Oh, I love it though. Every video.
Go just lower it just a little bit more, Joe.
There you go.
There you go.
Got that? Okay. Yeah. So it looks good. I mean, there's a lot to this goddamn book. How many pages?
Well, I imagine it's its own setting then too, Joe. Or
it's set in their setting, 364 pages.
That's what I was going to say. Do they have different campaigns within their setting, or
I
don't know anything about Troll Lord games other than Castles and Crusades.
Well, they have their own setting called Aird. Right. And it started out as a little 30-page kind of a setting. You know what I'm saying? So it was and then he just grew it and grew it and grew it. And I think he's a Tolkien fan. It has a long, deep back history story of the whole world. That's my style, right? Big mythological stuff, and this and that. So actually, let me make it bigger. What the hell am I doing here? Let me just say everybody could see. Sorry, I don't want to block you out, but that way people
there we go.
Better.
Nope.
Right. So
better.
Yeah. So it's a big setting with a deep history, and all their stuff is set there. But you don't have to, play this here. So these are all the adventures, right? Night, Salt on Blacktooth Ridge. That's a famous one. That was the very first one I think they ever put out. The Slag Heap, Wicked Cauldron. So each of these chapters is like one of their modules, basically.
Okay.
Right. And so what they did was I think they rewrote the modules, brought it all together, tied it all in. You know what I mean? And made it one consistent, solid story, basically. Is this that the light? No, it's the other light. Sorry. Yeah. So it's decent art. The pages are good and strong. I mean, the pages, they got that gloss. I don't like gloss that much,
I'm not a fan of it either as much. I mean, it doesn't. But I prefer when they have that more matte finish to them.
Decent art, and I mean, it's an adventure path, right? So you're getting some level of railroad,
right?
But if that's all you want to do, that's all your players want to do, who gives a shit, right? Now I gotta say, Troll Lord Games has gotten better with their maps. They got a new program, whatever it is. Their old maps sucked.
Oh, they were bad.
Terrible. I've never seen such bad maps in my life as their old maps. So they did a really good job with these maps. Oh, that's kind of basic bullshit map. You know what I mean? But they did it. Yeah. This is decent though. This one is nice, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm just turning to random pages. And every random page I turn to, it seems like you're getting maps or pictures. So they put the work in. There's a lot to it. It looks like.
Yeah.
Will I ever run it? No. Will I steal liberally from it? Hell yeah, right? Because why not? Why not, right? So let's see what else we got here. All right, so that's the first book. These little peanut things. No matter how careful you are, those goddamn things are always on the floor.
And then they stick to you, and you can't get them off, you damn thing.
Yeah. Static electricity.
Right.
So
that's what we need to stat out like a styrofoam peanut, because you can never get rid of them. You can attack them all you want, but the peanuts.
Oh, peanuts. Yeah, you just had that weird accent. Yeah, okay. Sorry.
I don't have an accent.
Styrofoam penis. Most people want to get a little harder than styrofoam, just saying.
I would imagine, yeah. Environs of, how do you say it? Offstrag?
Offstrag, yeah. After Winter Dark is, I guess, Offstrag is the name of the setting there. So this is a thin book. I think it's just the setting, the area, that you're dealing with. Not a lot of art in here. It's
just an overall.
Yeah, it's a thin little
generalized information for different areas.
There's not much to it, So, and then the Baki. This is, I think, a stretch goal add-on, the whole coast region.
Oh, okay.
So they added. I think we hit that. So they give us, 15 pages or whatever on the coastline, right? And then I think there's another goal, M1 through M4, Saga of the Ebon Staff. Speaking of stiffness, all right, that's a good picture actually.
Actually no idea. That one looks cool. I like the what is that called? A censure? I forgot what it's called.
Yeah. For like the church stuff.
Yeah. It looks like one of those, a battle version.
Yeah. So this is kind of cool. All right. So we got a little more.
That one's just black and white.
Yeah, pretty much just black and white. The inside.
Yeah, the one thing.
See, here's the old Troll Lord maps.
Yes, I was just going to say.
What the hell is that?
And then what's that made them worse too is I think they were actually colored maps, but they put them in black and white.
Yeah,
it always screws up the contrast of a map. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they saw that first map, but
they always have good quality. I got to say, Troll Lord. Their stuff is good quality. And this is, there's a couple more things. But wait, there's more.
Yeah, that's a different that's like A13. That wasn't included in the
looks like not, no. It looks like it's a bonus one. They must have hit the stretch goal.
It says level 1 though, so that means there's a level 2.
Yeah, the Bone Pit. I kind of like that name. And the art on this is the winner from all the stuff.
Yeah, I like that one a lot. Yeah,
this is the winner. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Plus the Bone Pit. How do you go wrong with the Bone Pit?
I don't know.
It's just good shit. About 30 pages, it looks like. So that's a little bonus.
Decent size.
We're into the map land. I'm just trying to look through, make sure there's no. This is your identifying information. All right, we're the map land.
Here's Joe's IQ.
The Bone Pit. All right, there you go. There you go. That ain't bad.
Bone Pit 2, Bone Pit 3.
I guess we're only getting level 1, but I never liked these squiggly little fucking. How do you describe that as a DM? You know what I mean? It goes right, no, then left, no, then right. That 5 feet, you can't map it. There's no way to map it or describe it for people to map. You just can't do it.
Right, I get that. Yeah, I mean, if you're big onto using resources and torchlight and different things like that, it's a resource expender.
I like it. I like doing that, but not on this level. Jesus.
Yeah, no, I get that. Well, you could just say that doesn't exist there then.
Yeah, true. But it's like the temple had those kinds of things underneath it. Remember in the cellar in the moat house? Never liked it. So this is a nice map though. This is well done.
Mm-hmm. That's the region? No, that's the whole map.
Looks like Offstrag. This is just the region of Aird, right? So this is the coast at the Baccaria coast expansion. Offstrag, talking about the areas around it. So that's cool. It's like it's one-sided. They could have done a little more. Throw 2 sides of something, Well,
maybe they're doing it so you can pin them up, or
Yeah, true. The Undying Wars maps. Oh, okay. So they got. This is good. Well, fucking done. There's a map book. All the maps you need in one place. Yeah. Absolutely.
Did you get like a PDF version of this too, Joe?
I did. Yep.
Yeah,
I
that way,
think that's
because I mean, the map books are nice, but it's hard to use them at the
yeah,
same time.
exactly.
But if you have the you know the like a player version of these maps that you can use online or something like
Hmm.
that, then they are nice to have at that
It's a
point.
necessity these days. I mean, I think that's
Yeah.
why the older maps kind of sucked and they were basic bullshit maps, because they were just, these are for the DM. Nobody needs to ever see them other than him, and he'll describe it to the players, right? And so
Right.
that's what they would do. And it's like, well, now with roll 20, you want to put them up there, or whatever VTT you're using, right? You want to put the damn maps up there so that you could, just give the people something that they can look at, but you having to do all the damn work. So yeah, it's a necessity. All right, there it is.
That looks cool. So like a 1 out of 10, how satisfied with just the first glance through are you with it?
I think that's content, style, look, feel, quality. I'll give it an 8. Content, until I look at it, I don't know. But like I said, it's just going to be stealing from it anyhow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's all I'm going to do with it, is just steal shit from it. You never know. You just read through, it might be interesting. Some of these things are actually, good material, right? So, you know what material is?
Yep. Yep.
Reading material
on the toilet
when you take a shit. Exactly, baby.
We just used to call it the library. Reading in the library.
Reading a library.
Nice. Reading in the library. Yeah.
I used to work once upon a time, a million years ago, in the courthouse, and I remember looking for a judge, and I said to this guy, I don't see the judge. He's not in his chambers. The guy says he's in his inner chambers. I'm like, oh, all right, I get it.
no need to explain.
I know you're saying the inner chambers.
That's like dudes can't.
Yeah, exactly.
So no explanation needed. I get the gist of it.
Gotcha.
That's funny.
Yeah. So that's pretty my unboxing. You got 2 live unboxings, dude. And I'll snip mine out and put it out there live, as a few-minute video. You do the same thing, drop it on your channel, and get a little exposure to our show. I
gotta do some more videos, and I just haven't gotten to it. So it's always, I always have plans, and they
get there.
It doesn't usually function. So
yeah, I got more free time than you. I have, I'm single still. I got no life. What the hell do I do? So no life. I got no life. You got a wife. So it's a whole difference right there. Approach, Yeah.
Oh, we got Mike in the house.
Mike. Good evening, Mike. Good evening, Mike. You have to listen back again, and you will understand all the comments about lesbian bandanas. So scroll to the beginning of the show, because of course it's not at all, but barely might be D&D related. All right,
we can make it. We'll make it that way. Yeah,
we can be related in some way. So
absolutely.
All right, good deal. Tim, why don't you talk about the next topic as I run to the bathroom and take a leak?
I don't know if I have that much time.
Well, it's 20. All mammals take 22 seconds to take a leak. Until the mammals or humans and reach the age of 50 or so, it takes a little longer. So, but all mammals have the same leak speed, no matter how big they are. From horses to it's interesting. The dogs all 22 seconds. Leak speed.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's another fact I didn't know. Yeah.
Leak speed.
I'm not going to Google it, but I trust you.
I believe it's 22 seconds. It's some sort of a deep survival thing, early mammals. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't want to take too long. Get killed by a fucking cougar or a T-Rex or something, right? So you want to have a quick leak speed, So, yeah, intro the topic. I'll be back in 22 seconds plus, because I'm over 50.
All right. Sounds good, Joe. So our main topic of the night is going to be how Joe and I kind of develop our campaigns. We definitely have 2 different styles. I know they do need a leak speed D&D table. I bet you Gary has it somewhere hidden on the first edition DMG, because every time you open that damn book up, you always find something you didn't read before. But we definitely have 2. So we're just going to discuss how I do it, he does it. And it might, like I said, might be a multi-night topic or whatever. And if you guys have questions during it or have input on how you guys do things, because it seems like we kind of have some, I don't know everybody here, but some older gamers, and us older gamers tend to skew towards being GMs and building our own games and everything. So if you have some input, let us know.
No, I am back. It was longer than 22 seconds, but it was leak speed plus refill that which caused the leak speed. You had to combine the two speeds, and here we are.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a study on refill speed.
Refill speed. Well, how close is the bar to where you take a leak? That's really, it comes down to that. It's efficient. Mine is right next to it for efficiency's purposes, so it's all good. As you remember,
yes. That's understandable. Why don't you start off, Joe? So,
all right,
you're running a campaign right now, which I am going through.
Painful
now,
right?
We haven't died yet. Before you even go into too much, how many campaigns have you run?
Full blown, like only
not the start and stop ones you've done, but the ones that you've at least run for a substantial, where you felt like there was some sort of actual ending to it.
God, dude, I don't know. Only a few. Because they would stop and go. See, it's fine length of campaign, right? I mean, like Matt Jackson, 3 sessions, you got a fucking long campaign. Me, I like to go a few years. Rob goes 45 years, right? So I think it's a relative thing, So it's
I'm asking that for a reason, because there's a lot of people who do start and stop campaigns.
Yeah,
but when I'm talking about a campaign, I'm not, because if you run like 3 games, like we have in Matt's games, and in a couple of years where it kind of just stopped abruptly. It was just a matter of that. I don't consider those campaigns, but they're interesting into this topic, because I think what you do to prep can help with reducing your start and stop campaigns. And so so you think maybe like 5?
Maybe if that, because I mean, most of the ones I run in the past were like, you're talking teenage years and college years, right?
Yeah,
a couple here and there since then, but they always had an end to them. The longest one I've ever run was only like 4.5 years. That was that's short compared to most people, right? That's a lot of people, I should say, but compared to Rob, 45 years, and I'm 4.5 years, right? So there's a slight difference there, but Rob's campaigns are not. When I say 4.5, that was a group of characters from 0 level or first level to the end, right? They retired. So that, if you want to call that a campaign, from low level to high level, and they retire, move on, and then you have another campaign. Rob's 45-year campaign is in the same world, but multiple campaigns happen within that.
Right. His is multiple. So, his setting is evergreen, but his campaigns are finite, something different. Yeah,
exactly. So in terms of how many have I run from beginning to end, a handful, right? But the big one was the recent one with the 5e. And I've taken a page out of Rob's book, and I'm running in the same broken. I took Forgotten Realms and broke it apart and changed it, made it mine world. It only resembles anything reasonably. Forgotten Realms based on the maps. That's about it, right? And so I started right on the heels of that timeline, which was 4.5 years our time, maybe 8 years game time. I started the next campaign, which is the 1 year in. So I have 2 simultaneous ones going there. One with my brother and a couple of guys, and one with you and a few guys, right? So they're not overlapping. They're in the parallel universe kind of a thing. Some influences the others if there's good ideas that come from it. But yeah, so this is 2 new campaigns within this campaign world setting thingy. Right. So that's what I'm doing now. But yeah, I mean, how about you? I mean, you don't tend to do them as long, but you do the same setting thing, and that you've had several set in the Hound's Head, Scorn region, right?
Right. Gosh, how many you and I have done 3 with Snickle
alone. Yeah.
Basically from beginning to end.
Soup to nuts.
What's that?
Soup to nuts.
Yeah. So, I mean, while they don't last long, I can consider them, like a full campaign. It was completed and everything. So, my thing isn't because I have a lot of start and stops. Mine's more because, like, what is it? Thraxis says he's a forever GM. There for a long time, I was a forever player.
Yeah.
Because if I didn't play in our group, I can't tell you how many times I would start a campaign and it would get derailed within the first session or 2 because the players couldn't get along with each other.
Yeah.
And then they would just start killing each other just because, and it had nothing to do with the game. It had them just not liking each other. But when I played, I was,
sorted out.
I was the lubricant.
Sure everybody.
Yeah,
you were the KY of the group. I get it.
Yeah, pretty much. I was the guy. So anytime I tried to, especially when I was younger, to try to GM, it just went to shit real quick.
Mhm.
And sometimes I would just get so pissed because I spent a lot of time trying to prep, trying to get something cool together and everything. And just because they couldn't behave, I couldn't do anything. So
Yeah.
early on, I didn't have a lot of campaigns, but in later years, I would say probably 10 to a dozen, maybe.
Okay. Wow, that's a lot. Yeah. That's a
But
lot.
again, they're not like, how long, like they're not always like
Yeah. 6 months,
a year
8
long
months, whatever.
or
Yeah. Yeah.
that. Some of them, the longest one I ever had was 3 years, three and a
Okay.
half. So that was the longest one I had.
Yeah. Yeah, and the older ones that I had in high school and college, you can't call them campaigns because though they were the same characters, it was module style. It's like
Yeah,
you go to
it
Walden
was
Books and
episodal.
yeah, you grab a module because
Mhm.
you're of this level range now, and so there's 2 modules of that level range. You read the back, you grab it, you play it. No connection whatsoever to anything,
Mm.
even though it's the same player group, right? So those early
Yeah.
AD&D first edition ones were just basically like that, right? The second edition game, we all got into the Forgotten Realms early days and started playing stuff there, but we kind of made our own stuff, but not really. And it
Right.
was, it wasn't something I'd be proud of, but it was the best I could do at age 24, right?
Right.
So it is what it is. A couple of those, right? And now that I've finally grown into a little bit better, I think, and now I'm doing more campaigns that I read about other people doing that. Hey, this is kind of cool. This is neat. And then
Mhm.
really exposure to all you guys and the OSR and the blog and all that stuff for the
Yeah.
last 12 or so years has really increased my understanding of what a campaign actually is. Because prior to that, I had the word in the DM guide AD&D, but I didn't know what
Right.
it was.
Yeah.
I mean, so yeah, it's a different thing. So now I get it and playing with you guys and seeing how you guys run it. I mean, because prior to this, like I said, I would just me, my brother, maybe a friend or two, we could drag them in. No exposure, didn't go to cons, didn't play in other groups. So it was just whatever be interpreted, right? That was the basic thing of a campaign. Yeah. Different world now, different way of doing things. So
Yeah. I mean, I think we approach things definitely with, as much as we can muster a more
Mhm.
mature angle.
yeah.
Trust me, I'm using mature on very loose terms.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we expect more from our games than just a weekly monster of the week or
Yeah. Nobody wants that.
no, they want to kind of dig in for a while.
You need a little meat, you need a little meat. I was pleasantly surprised and happy that you guys engaged in the role play aspect of the last session. Actually, it was about half role play and half doing some other doing the fight. I think, and that was nice. It means to me that you're a little bit invested in it. You kind of enjoy it. You get into the setting, the history, because you never know what the players are going to be into or want out of it. So that's kind of nice that the effort I'm putting into that means something. That's
Yeah,
cool.
I mean, I think that's what makes it, a campaign run for. I don't know what makes it interesting. I mean, yeah, you're gonna have combats,
Mhm.
and that's fun and everything. Beating up hordes of monsters and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's the in between, the figuring out stuff, the
Mhm.
mysteries, the intrigue, the
Mhm.
finding a friend in a game.
Yeah.
That's the interesting. That's what keeps me coming back instead of just sort of, because if it's just a procedural campaign where you're just kind of like, okay, we've done 1, 2, and 3. Okay, you've completed all that. Now we go back to 1 again, and 2,
Yeah.
3. I'm not interested in procedural campaigns.
No. Nor episodic. I don't want an episodic style campaign where it's a different, okay, this is the first level dungeon, and this is the next place you're going to go to gain your next level, and then this is, what I mean, which is kind of what Castles and Crusades did with their thing I just unboxed, but I think they got more meat on the bones than a typical module style thing. They're wrapping it in, they're telling a bigger story in their own world, so that's kind of a good thing.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So when I'm thinking of a campaign, what are you thinking? What do you do, dude? So the next idea you have, not the snicker one. Let's just say you're thinking of a campaign, not snicker related, something you're going to run with a few guys. What's the first thing you start doing? What are you going to think about?
Actually, when I start getting to itch a campaign, strangely enough, the first thing I think about is who I want to play in it.
Okay. All right.
I actually start with the players. Like, what's my party going to look like? Who's going to be there? I mean, I don't always know, but I want to get a gist. I'll throw it like I do sometimes. I'll throw it out to you guys, see who's interested, and kind of go from there to see what kind of players. Because everybody has their own style of playing.
Yeah.
And I know if I have this certain group, I'll kind of run the game one way, and if I have a different mix, I might try a different way. So actually, for me, the first step is figuring out who my players are.
Okay. All right.
Because I gotta like who I'm going to be gaming with
Agreed.
for the next like year or something like that. And plus, if I know like you don't like procedural, and I was going to run a procedural game, I would just go, Joe, I know you don't like this, so I understand if you don't want to play or something like that, so you don't have to feel obligated or whatever. And I'll kind of go towards those ones that do. So I do tend to cultivate my players to see who wants to do. I mean, granted, it's fairly easy these days with internet and the virtual tabletop. You have access to a lot of different people, and then you have your pretty much your inner circle. I mean, you have access to a lot of outer circles, but then you just have your main inner circle. And then sometimes you have to take that leap and invite someone from an outer circle in and hope
take a risk.
God, they work out and stuff like that.
That's what I tried to do with the two merging of the streams with my brother and a few guys I've been playing with forever, and you're in the old school guys, and it didn't work out for a variety of reasons. Nothing bad. It just the personality style, gameplay style, and so it just so we diverged the streams after that. Plus it was a little bit unwieldy if you all showed up. So it's kind of good. It made more work for me in one way, but it also made it easier for me because, like, hey, you didn't go with those goblin caves, and I got the map already prepared and stocked with goblins. Guess what I'm going to use that for? The other group,
right? Yep, exactly.
So it saves some work too. Yeah. So it's kind of neat. I think it's in that regard, the players do matter. For me, the first steps I do is like for this new one. I guess I can only relate to I'll tell you what I did with this one.
Absolutely.
The last one was big world spanning epic story, first level to 25th level superhero 5e yada yada, right? And it was mainly focused on my brother's couple characters. Started out with more players, a few dropped out, a few would like, I'm playing that no more, and then added a guy in, and so it ended with a couple players and a few characters, and one player played a bunch of characters because he was the fill-in guy, Dwayne.
Oh, right, Dwayne.
Right. So he was like, hey, Dwayne, can you play a shaman now? What's a shaman? I just made it up. Here you go. Have fun. All right. It's like, I made it.
I'll play him. Yeah.
Here you go. And he played a bunch of guys. So all kudos to him. You're just rolling with the punches,
Yeah, no, that's good.
Yeah, from like 13th to 25th level or something, he was playing, and he jumped in at a high level campaign, jumped with high level stuff. With 5e, it's no joke. You got to like bone up on that shit, right? So,
especially with all the shiny things that get
the bits and pieces. You can't do that sober, So, Christ.
No,
so
that might drive me to drinking. Yeah,
that's the thing. You gotta have some kind of thing in your head to be able to figure it out. Anyway,
sadistic.
Kind of fit Dwayne anyway. So we don't play sober. It's a D&D. We play D&D. With a buzz. Any case, my next campaign I'm running now is a reaction to that in a sense. I wanted something smaller, regional based, not epic level campaign. I figure you guys maybe peak at 10th, old name level, and it started out being a second edition by the book, and then 400 pages of house rules later, it morphed into my modified house rules, had a second edition, and then my brother and his group started playing my new RPG basically that I've been tinkering with, and so they're playing that, and you guys are playing the second edition. But the approach wasn't starting with the players. I knew the group of players I wanted to have. I'm not reaching out to broad. I don't know that many people, but what I wanted to do was what style or theme. And that's different than what is the story, right? I knew the beginning of it. I knew the setting. I knew how to create stuff around that little mini area, a few hundred miles across. And I kind of had the big broad strokes. I had I don't know the ending of it, and I don't know what it's going to mean. I don't care. I have the pieces on the chessboard of the sandbox, and I'm going to see how these things interact, right? So that's where I start with mine. I wanted that kind of a theme or style of game, right? So that was where I started. So what do you do next? Once you get your player group, what do you do after that?
So you have a top-down kind of point of view
Yes,
of
big
building
time.
a campaign, and mine is sort of the opposite. I am a bottom-to-top guy.
Mhm.
You know, you can make all the sexual references.
Oh, they were coming. If I was just sober
I
enough,
know.
they
I
would have
just wanted to. I
spewed
just wanted
forth.
but I just like starting with a small area, and I didn't know this was a thing until what was it? What's his name? Chicago Wiz was talking about the kind of like a flower hex.
Mm-hmm.
So you have your central thing where you go for like your base or something,
Yeah.
and then you just build around that. Okay, so you develop the hex base, or the hexes around it, and sees what's interested. Mine's a little bit more than that, but it's the same kind of concept. But I build it out because I really like the minutia of a small setting.
Yeah.
And I do have an idea of the overview. Do I have all the
What do you
answers?
mean overview?
Do I know?
What does the overview mean to you?
Like for me, there's a city to the south. There's the capitals to the west. There's a halfling village down the road from here, and just start building this stuff. But a lot of that comes from my interactions with the party. I build it as sometimes as needed. Sometimes I already have it. So now that you guys explored Scorn, and the city of Scorn to the south and everything, now it's pretty solidified within my campaign and everything. And then just the different pieces and everything. Now there's a reason why I don't do the overall Comor Forest and have things very detailed for there. There's a reason for that, but I really don't. I can't tell you.
Okay, because I'm a player in the game, or because you know I bust your balls.
yeah, pretty much, yeah. So, but then like a lot of times I have like a generalized map figured out, so I have some idea. So because you do ask a lot of questions, which is good, because that pushes me as a GM to kind of look for those answers, and it helps me kind of develop my campaign. So I lean on my players quite a bit to help the development too. I mean, I think the players add a lot of stuff that I would have never thought of, or it really enhances what I'm going to add, because it's like,
you
I
do
really
roll
like
with that
idea.
I remember looking like what you do at Greg. I mean, Greg wanted to be a cleric of some dude, and you pick, and he said, "Well, what god?" And in my eyes, I'm like, "What do you mean, what god? I have all the gods written. I have all their details. I know every god. I know what the color of underwear the gods wear. I know all this shit." And you're like, "Well, what god? You're letting the player make up a god in your world? How's that? That's going to break the web of the sandbox that I have out there, And so you let him make up Puce, the god of boring ass colors and silence, and shushing people.
Well, and that was a cool thing, because there's a perfectly good space for him to fit in there, since there's not, and it turned out to be pretty good. So it's funny that you brought him up, because I was writing a little bit of basically the manifesto of the Puce.
The Pucefesto?
Pucefesto, yeah. But basically, it's stoicism, because it's perfectly. They kind of adhere to one another, and it makes sense. And I like that idea. So now when like we start running the next campaign, you're going to see, the religion of Puce a little bit more. It's not going to be just so surfacey. It's going to have some depth and detail now.
More fleshed out and more shushed out, basically.
More shushed. Yeah.
The
god of shushing.
Yeah. The patron saint of librarians everywhere.
Exactly.
That's good.
But I would have never thought of that on my own.
No,
I wouldn't come up with that.
Yeah, Greg doesn't even do drugs or drink. I don't know how he came up with that bullshit from, but it worked out good. Worked out good. You got some content for the game. You could have a card. You know what I mean? Are you gonna ever do a card? That's a little bit out of off topic here. Are you ever gonna do a card with all our characters, like Matt's guy, my guy, Kojak, Snickle? You know those cards you send out?
Oh, the NPC cards.
Yeah, it'd be kind of neat.
I could do with those. Yeah, I just have to find a picture I could use. First of all, it couldn't be just get Google ganked. It'd have to, be something I could use, and I'd have to find a good one.
Yeah.
Rick Hershey's really good to deal with. So, and he's the one who's does quite a bit of it. So, maybe down the line I could do something along those. So,
it'd be kind of neat. The next thing I do once I get beyond the theme of the game, right? And then players are assumed for me because I only have a small group. I don't have a big stable to choose from. I'll start thinking, all right, describe the world or the region or setting, right? And like you said, it's all top down. Okay, so it's like here are the racial groups. Here's where they all live. Here's all the cultural groups. Here's where they live. Here's the economy of the world. And this is what, therefore, I must determine what do the halflings produce that can be traded in this little regional community. What do the dwarves produce? What do the gnomes produce? What does this group of wood elves produce? And how did they trade? Okay, that means when do they trade? That means fairs. That means festivals. Where do they take place? How often? Why? Where? When? All this stuff goes into it, right? And then, well, what makes these mountain dwarves different than these hill dwarves? What is their culture? What's their history? Where does it all come from? And so I'll do all this background shit for the world so that once I drop the players into a town, I have the web of the land all around them and how it all interacts, because it's like, when a fly lands on a spider web, the spider's alerted, or when something pulls through a web, all the other parts of the web get pulled or moved in a certain direction, right? So I need that to have the knowledge of when my players pull this part of the web, how does that affect everything else in the web of the sandbox? Right. And so I have it in my head, this web of interconnections and trade and relations and animosities and loves and prejudices and biases and histories and all this stuff. So, so when you do this over here, that means these other 6 things happen. Right. So that's kind of my top down approach. So that takes a long time for me to sort of create all that shit. Right. But then once I have those things in place, the campaign emerges from the play, but I have all the pieces already there. I'm not making it up as I go, kind of like you kind of go with the flow as it happens. You know what I mean? So that's.
I have my set stuff, but I do definitely roll with what the players are going to do. Mine's just sort of a very loose version, and I think maybe of what you do in some ways. Yours is definitely much more structured than mine, no doubt.
Yep. And I think it's broader. Like
it is.
You have Scorn and you have Hound's Head and you have this east something way to the north that we can never get to because every 3 steps there's a giant 40-foot snake in the way. You know what I mean? So I know I'm never getting there. I can't fight that many snakes. Eastgate, is that what it's called?
You just have to go there. Yeah, that's the capital. No,
I wanted to go there just to find out what they got, sell shit. I'm like, okay.
I know you wanted to go. You wanted to travel like 2 weeks to go shopping.
Yeah, I want to go shopping. Who doesn't want to go shopping? I want to buy the good stuff in Eastgate because Hound's Head has you have a rusty sword for you and some frayed rope. Motherfucker, what?
Pretty much, yeah.
So I want to go somewhere big. That's why you created Scorn, so you could go trade shit, and then you started a campaign in Scorn, right? I mean, you had it somewhat.
Scorn was there, but it was always there, but it wasn't what it was that you've grown to do until I did that one campaign. And then I saw a real need to flesh it out, built the map. But I built the map and then I destroyed the city within one campaign.
Yeah, we barely survived with our lives. Right. Yeah. That was fun. You build it and you destroyed it all at the same time. So it's
pretty much, yeah. And now it's morphed into something else. So
that'd be kind of fun to explore. I look forward to it. But so that is your next step. So once you develop the players and all that, you have a higher level picture, but you go with the flow, right?
Well, let's see, higher level picture. I don't. I'd have to say I have a situation. So usually what I do is I start a campaign with a situation. And I try to have, depending how many players they are, like in Snickel's case, if you just have a low number of people, I try to make it a personal situation, not a world,
ending
kind of situation. It's usually a personal one. So it hopefully matters to you. Usually by then I know you guys pretty well, what you're all I have to do with Snickle is just mention Alice or the kids and you're just on it.
Yep. I adopted them.
Right.
Did you know that my mother's name was Alice before you started this? Because,
No, I didn't.
yeah, because
No,
your mother
I
fucking
had
now I'm
no
stuck
idea.
with Alice and her kids. How do I not do that?
Oh, that's funny. No, I did not
Son
know
of a
that.
bitch.
That is funny. Yeah. So I try to start it off with that, and then I allow the situation to occur, and then let the
Yeah.
players take over. But in the meantime, when you guys are trying to accomplish maybe something with that situation, then the world itself creates its own obstacles anyways.
Yeah.
Like I always try to run my campaign that it's always moving and it's always
Yeah.
developing or regressing or something like that. Because think about the last campaign I ran. What did I start you guys off with? Do you remember?
The last one? That was
Yeah.
in Hound's Head, basically. That was Escape to Hound's Head, right? We got to Hound's Head, and after that, we
Yeah,
were
but
in
what were
Hound's
you
Head.
escaping from?
From the death and burning of Scorn with the demon infestation and all that stuff that was going on. Yeah.
And then what did you hit?
Hit
Do you
Hound's Head.
remember? No?
The army, a skeletal army along the way.
Yeah, you hit this undead thing. So it all of a sudden, because remember, you guys were all unrelated characters.
Yes.
So I took the situation and made it
like
so
a
you
bunch of
guys had to,
refugees.
right. And that way you had to combine
Mm-hmm.
forces to, survive the night
Mm-hmm.
or, try to get to Hound's Head. So it seemed like it was a good way to start it off.
Yeah.
But where it went and how it worked, it was going to be up to you guys, whether, it was going to be a, cohesive thing. The one thing you never know is whether the players are going to continue to, maybe cooperate in being cooperative,
Well, you hope so. You're all there as friends to play the game.
Yeah, because I was going to say the nice thing is like having older gamers. I mean, they get the gist. We're doing this. They get the GM's intent and goes with the flow. But I don't want them to be restricted by what they think they should do either. I give them a lot of flexibility and different paths that happen, and then start leaking in a little bit of a little bit of what people want, and then also then the thing is most of the time you guys do enough for me that you give me enough fodder that I can develop the campaign as you guys for each session. I mean, it just grows organically. I don't really have to do much. I just have to pay attention to you guys.
So it's truly an emergent story. Like, as is people talk about the OSR focusing on the emergent storytelling. There's no railroad. There's no adventure path. There's no predetermined outcome to the game and all that kind of stuff. Yours is truly emergent, right? 100 way more than mine is, I guess.
Yeah, because you have a big event. You have an apocalyptic. I guess we're living the post-apocalyptic kind of fantasy
you're in the
world.
post-apoc thing, yeah.
So yours is directed because you have these big events, and if things don't happen, then we have our missions, so to speak, to kind of put things back together again. Because right now we're living in a somewhat chaotic world. There's semblance of all the puzzle pieces are there, but while everything didn't get shattered, all the puzzle pieces did get taken apart from one another.
Yes.
And now we're slowly trying to put the pieces back together to kind of bring some, and then we're having to do it without a major resource.
Yeah. You don't have a major place to go. You're being sort of cut off from the rest of the world here, and there are the region as well as the world. But for you guys, the purpose of the region got disrupted, and people are sensing, just like in our current world today, the big bears, whatever going on with the United States, and other people are bristling and threatening and starting fights and starting bullshit, right? That's kind of what's going on in my world right now. There's a lot of factions, a lot of forces, a lot of old history and a lot of old resentments and hostilities, a lot of agendas that are, peaking up because, hey, the big stuff, the world has changed, post-apocalyptic thing going on. The powers that be aren't as powerful anymore because a lot of them died in the war. And therefore, what I couldn't do before because I was a little shithead, now my little group is kind of a player in the battlefield. I got kind of promoted from pawn to knight just by virtue of all the other pieces going away. Right. So now I'm going to exert my will on the world, my little group culture, race, whatever it is. And so you guys are trying to like explore this because what I do is I don't tell the story of the campaign. I don't know where the hell the campaign is going to go, but I do have the story of the world in the back of my head and written down. And I do have the story of the region. I do have the story of some of these towns and some of these groups that's going to happen. I wrote it down, and like if you were never there, I have a historical fiction essentially going on of all these groups, races, regions, and worlds, right? If your players are never there, this shit would happen. And because your players are there, some shit's still going to happen. Some shit will maybe not happen if you guys take a direct influence on it, which changes my timeline, my future timeline of the world events. But your path as players, as characters, is completely up to you within this moving, existing world. You're like the cue ball navigating a pool table full of balls that are all bouncing all over the place. You may hit a ball and bounce it into another ball, or you may cleave a path through the pool table and hit another ball. But if you do hit another ball,
in my case, scratch on the 8. So
you're going to scratch on the 8, of course. You know. What did you do last game that was freaking hilarious? Oh, that's what it was. In my thing, my house rule that they hate, if you roll a 1, 2, or 3 on a natural 20 while shooting a bow or a missile weapon or a thrown weapon into a melee combat where some of your people are involved in, right? If you roll a 1, 2, or 3, you automatically hit one of your people into melee, which is my rule because I don't like shooting arrows into melee. It's too quick on the movement, right? So Tim, because of 2nd edition, gets 2 shots per round. He rolls 2 ones. Two ones, and it's like, gee, I think it was Greg's guy got hit or something. I don't know. Greg was there. Another guy got hit. Vance's guy.
No, I was going to say I've killed Greg twice.
You've killed him.
Oh yeah, it was Vance's guy.
It was Vance's guy. 2 nat ones, and then we're like, Jesus Christ! Of all the people that rolled nat ones, and they got 2 nat ones, and then we realized you rolled a damage die.
Right,
it wasn't even a D20 to hit.
Yes, yeah. I was like, oh my god, you got to be kidding! How did I roll 2 ones again?
That was great.
The thing is it was perfectly believable since it was me.
Nobody doubted it. Only Eric pointed it out.
Luckily Eric was paying attention for once.
Yeah. Everyone else was mocking you and making fun of Vance for dying.
Right. Because I think I did max damage too, which was
it was fucking fantastic. So but that's how you roll. Natural and no pun intended. But
I roll low.
That's how I roll, man. So anyway, so once I get the story of the world and the story of setting, I drop you guys into it. You're like the cue ball and the pool ball of life, pool table of life, right? So you're trying to maneuver your way through it. Hopefully you don't disrupt anything bad, and go with the flow. So that's
I think that's where our styles definitely kind of coheres together, because that's what I do. I just do it on a smaller scale.
Yeah. Yep.
Because I I kind of do the situation with the folks, and they got the different obstacles, and sometimes it's simple as just getting fucking money, because there's not a lot of money in there, and so it's you're kind of resource poor in my campaign in a way. So
definitely. Couldn't find charcoal.
I mean, that's developed though. So since the last one, what'd you say?
Couldn't find charcoal, for fuck's sake. To make my little tinker's thing.
Because they didn't have a charcoaler up there, and all the charcoaler was down in Scorn.
I don't know what a charcoaler is. I'm Googling this bullshit. Everybody else knows in the whole group what the hell a charcoaler is. I'm like Wikipedia charcoaler. What the hell is this? That whole half an hour divergence of what the hell a charcoaler was. But
I can't tell you how many articles and how many books I read about being a charcoaler just so I could write a new micro
and fuck with
about
me.
A charcoaler.
Yeah, and fuck with
me.
Well,
no, I mean that was a bonus. Yeah, that was
a freebie, right?
Yeah, that was a freebie on that one.
Books on charcoaler, goddamn weirdo. Who the hell looks that shit?
I know. Well, it's like you've read those like Life of a Medieval Farmer, Life in a
the
Medieval
Giles books.
Yeah. So there's little sections in there that will give like more information about a specific thing, and then I do have a book about the charcoaler, and it's interesting. It's funny how when you start reading this, like just trying to find the minutia of things, what you'll learn on that you'll bring to your campaign. Like there's a reason why I think they're the ones who created the one-legged stool, because they had to stay awake to create the charcoal because it couldn't burn too hot. or it would burn all up, but it couldn't go too low. And you basically had to stay up for like 2 days or 3 days in a row. And they made the one-legged stool, so if you fell asleep, you'd fall off and wake back up.
Well, hopefully you didn't fall into the burning charcoal pit either. I mean,
hopefully you were smart enough to fall back. I mean, Darwin's theory was even in play back then. So, if they went in there, they just got a little extra charcoal,
a little charcoal with a little skin attached. That's all.
Yeah,
bonus skin.
Right. So it's just kind of interesting on adding those things to the campaign too.
Yeah. So that's big picture wise, right? We hit the big picture, what we do, the group, the theme, the style, the players you're going to have, the story that you're going to not tell the story, but the story of the world, what's going on in the region. Now, once you have that, the application of it, when do you start drawing your maps? When do you start making up your NPCs?
How maps always come first for me.
Okay.
Maps almost always come first.
Okay.
I've been one of those guys that I have more skill to write around a map than I do building a map around writing.
I'm the opposite. Yeah, I'm just the opposite. Yeah, I go the other way. Yeah, I'm like, here's what I want. Now I need a map of the thing and the thing. And I Google map of thing and thing, roll 20. That's pretty much how I'll do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I guess since I'm like drawing my own maps, but sometimes I still use different things. Like I'm learning how to use Google assets because I know I'm not going to publish this stuff, so I don't have to worry about infringing on somebody's stuff. Like that one, the last Hound's Head map that I made. Remember, I used like, what are they called? Transparent, like buildings. And I was able to expand Hound's Head without having to redraw the fucking map. It just takes a long time. But I could make it look like a cool little map. But I have now the flexibility because I have that stuff I can expand, take down, and everything just using those things. So I'm learning how to make my maps more flexible by using that kind of tool or technique.
I go the other way and I'll create the scenario I want and then try to find a map that fits it and then mess with the map to make it kind of fit. And if I can't find one that fits, then I'll hand draw it a shit map. You've seen those, those shit maps. I'll hand draw a shit map and I'll upload it on Roll20 and like, this is it. This is what you're dealing with, right? That's more my style of doing it, and it's not, like I say, it's not for publication. It's just for use.
Yeah.
That's
you had your shit map for the con and then you didn't even end up using it.
Like
half an hour, 45 minutes trying to get it lightened up enough so we can use it.
No, it's not even relevant, right? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you get your maps from there and everything. Okay. And I know you go out there and just kind of find some cool maps and kind of get it to fit in your thing. But one of the things I kind of want to backtrack a little bit from the maps too, because I think one of the important things too about a campaign is what you learned in your Bronze Age is the gods. So how do you determine? Do you just use the gods of Greyhawk, or do you make your own, or how do you?
I just grab the Forgotten Realms base gods, honestly, because
it's Forgotten Realms. That's right.
Yeah, so I just grab those. Like Eric he was playing a gnome, and I'm like, oh, look at this. Here's a supplement of deities and pantheons or whatever that came out there in the second edition era. Take these abilities or skills. And now there was 2 different books that they came out with. Some had overlapping different abilities. Some had the same. So I'm like, all right. So for Torm the True or whoever the hell, look into both books, combine their abilities, do something for me, and that'll be it. That was kind of the gist of it. I mean, the purpose of there are church hierarchies and the churches influence things in the world, but I've never focused on the church as much as of a power base in the world. But there was more, the church was just there for providing clerics and some sort of level of, I don't know, what is the cleric's ethos and what do they do? Some level of hamstringing the clerics. You know what I mean? In terms of this is what you can and cannot do.
Right.
Right. And so if you're, Torm the True, you must protect the weak and blah blah blah, Knights Templar. If you're, Cyric or someone evil like that, then yeah, you're an assassin, whatever the hell it is, that sort of thing. It was more to help, foster a sense of it. This is the deity of this thing, and therefore I'm for this and I'm against that. Right? It sets up the cleric's ethos and things they probably have goals to do or not do. Right? That was.
But you don't use that too often. You said.
No, I don't base too much around religion in my games, except for, believe it or not, more like the things I've created on my own. The whole mother thing, the force of the earth, the mother,
right.
That whole it's a spinoff of Mother Nature and a lot of spiritual beliefs I personally have, and so I'm just sort of dropping them into here and exploring it a little bit. And so the other churches and the other deities are more in opposition to that and her and it. Right. And so that's where I get it from. It's more of a duel of a clash of cultures, a clash of belief systems,
Yeah.
So that's more what I'll do with the churches. I don't do too much other than that, though, but yeah, let me quick. So just so you know how shit my maps are, boys and girls.
You're gonna show them one.
Yeah. So there you go. So that's, this is my shittily drawn map.
It works, though.
It worked. I couldn't find anything, so I'm like, I'm going to design my own damn thing here.
I mean, you can tell what everything is, though, at a glance. That's what a map's supposed to do. So it's not a ship map.
It's a functional map.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a functional map. That's all I wanted it to be. And if I want other maps or something like that, I'll let's see. Like I find something like online, right? I'll pick some up like all right, the Snowy Hills Cave, whatever the hell. I don't know where the hell I even got that from or what the fight was. This is like a Roll20 map search on Google or something like that.
Right. Okay.
If I really want to fuck with them, I'll pull something like this up. I don't know.
Pull my map up, you bastard.
Yeah, and fuck him with it, right? So I fuck him with his own map.
That's a whole map too.
Yeah. Yep, there's a mess. I love to fuck with Tim on his own map, so that's always kind of fun.
You guys all do.
Yeah, that's just the fun part. It's the best part. If I could kill you on your own map, it's just a bonus to me.
Oh, I know. You just usually get so happy. I remember that one night Matt used it. Was it Matt? You used my own map against me, and I'm like, I know this map, and I couldn't find it. And it was actually hanging up on the wall.
That was me.
Oh, that was you again?
Yeah. I took great pride in that one. Yeah, it was hanging on the wall right behind you, to the side of you, literally.
Yes.
You pointed to it after the game.
I was like, you got to be kidding.
All I did was turn it upside down, so you got the orientation wrong.
Well, yeah, that's probably true. It doesn't take much to confuse me.
Especially these days, they're all older.
Yeah.
So you draw the maps first. I go with the story, and I go to find a map. All right. And so by that I mean the maps of the world, the region, and some dungeons, right? Things like that. All right. Now you go for what about NPCs? What do you do with the NPC thing? Do you create them when you need them, or do you have a stable ahead of time? Do you draw from? Do you go, make them up as you go along? Because I know you got like 50 NPC cards out now, right? Do you use those?
Yeah, it's funny how little I use them though. But I mean, I do develop a lot of different things for different stuff, but let me see. It kind of comes in both varieties. Carbonara, process and I have my set of like when I made Hound's Head, I knew the NPCs that like ran like the businesses, so I was prepared because there was obvious places you guys were going to go, so I wanted to have something kind of set up, like the general store with Samuel there, and he has this kid with him that runs it, and then you got the blacksmith, and so that way it kind of helps me prep for the immediate needs of things. But for generalized NPCs, I mean, my big trick is I go online and I have a couple NPC generator places that I have, and I just have their names written out. I don't need anything else. I just want a list of names. So if you say, I want to go see the third son of the blacksmith, which sounds like you for some odd reason, and I don't have a name for him, I just look at my list and then I'll pick one of the names out, and then I'll write beside it blacksmith's son, and then a note maybe of some sort of personality. I might not know too much about him at the time, but then I'll just put a note with his personality. So now I know to enter this name with this into I guess for consistency's sake, so that way I remember it. I'm
Well,
not
speaking of
always
names,
great at that.
do you
You
make
know,
names up? Do you have a name table? Do you draw from what? Because a lot of people,
no,
they don't do the name thing ahead of time, or they don't name their people. They make up a name as they go, and then like that. I forget to write it down. Next session, what was that
right.
guy's? What's the blacksmith's name? You know, shit like that. Yeah, I'm always fucking pulling that out of my ass. You know, sometimes I'll make it up, but I never have a
Right.
name ahead of time. So annoying.
I just print out that list, and then when it starts getting kind of full, I'll make a new one up. But
Okay.
I try to add the ones that I have written down or have used somewhere, so I know. So when you go back, 6 months later, hey, what's
Mm-hmm.
that blacksmith's kid's name?
Yeah.
The third one.
Yeah. Yeah.
My
Yeah.
God, give me a second.
Yep.
Oh yeah. His name was Ezekiel. He was creepy. He had a limp and one eye that kept on flickering.
I like to
So
write it all down, for especially the one-on-one stuff, because it's the immersion factor of who the people
yeah,
are.
absolutely. Yeah,
So I
it's
remember
easier to do too
oh, I
with
agree.
the
Yeah, just me.
one-on-one.
I'm not
Yeah.
taking the time, I'm not disrupting
Mhm.
the rest of the group by writing it down. So yeah, yeah, yeah. No, so you go names as you kind of go. You have a list. You kind of go along. You write them down. You make a new list when you need
Yeah, I mean,
to.
I'll make a small, I don't know, probably 50 names, something like
Mm-hmm.
that, and I'll just keep it there.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like I said, when I need a name or something, I'll just pick. And I have female names, male names. I don't do racial names. I don't
Mm.
worry about if it's a dwarf name or an elf
Okay.
name or a human
You're not
name.
going Ragnarok Ragnarok.
No,
You're not pulling
no.
the dwarven name of whatever the hell.
Well, if you notice, most of my names that I use, they're usually not too difficult to pronounce. I try to,
Yeah, you're not pulling a
I mean,
Rob
they're
on that one.
very Anglo-Saxon in some
Mm-hmm.
ways. And then, but I'll go look at historical stuff. But even if I look at historical stuff, I try to make it, because if I can't pronounce it, I'm not
Yeah.
going to go, j, j, j.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the god names I have are a little bit like Judge, I can't even say it, Dedrigoria. That's
Yeah.
about as weird as I get.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
With that. I try to still make it somewhat pronounceable though, because when I see these names that have 6 vowels next to each other
Yeah.
and no consonants, it's like
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to call it by its first name
Yeah,
or
Bill.
first letter.
Your name is Bill.
Yeah, yeah. Well, or just B.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Now
yeah,
you meet
yeah,
B, and I
yeah.
just because I used to do that when I used to write or read fantasy novels too. If they made an unpronounceable name, which a lot of times they did, sometimes it would be so bad I'd have to okay, I'm out. I can't
Mm-hmm.
because I can't remember something that I can't pronounce.
Yeah. 2 syllables is enough, And if you're getting a
Mm-hmm.
last name, it means you're significant in some way. So if I ever give you a dude with a last name, it matters.
Ah, okay.
So-
I do try to add sometimes, like I do have, like when I like you're dealing with maybe a more important thing, I do
yeah.
sometimes roll a d6 just to
Uh-huh.
see if they have an honorific.
Oh, okay. The something.
Yeah,
The Pucifier. Yeah, I get it.
right.
Yeah.
Joe the I don't know, Snake Slayer, or
Yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever, something to add a little depth to that person.
Uh-huh.
But
Yep. Yep. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. All right. So you got the names, you got the NPCs, you got the maps, you have this sort of the story of the campaign setting and world, right? You got all that going on. All right. What do you do next? All right. What is your next step?
I don't know if I have like you said, the story of the world. I don't really deal with that so much. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't do the overarching thing. I do like a little, like a regional one most of the
Mm-hmm.
time. And if there is something monumental going on, it really has to be, because the way I figure it, if you're in Podunk, Houndshead, you're not
Yeah.
getting any information. So if there's something
Yeah.
epic going on, you ain't gonna know shit about
You're
it
not gonna know a
until
goddamn thing.
you might
Yep.
know about it, 6 months later,
Uh-huh.
or something along those lines. But like locally, I try to keep that in mind too.
Yeah.
Like the actual technology of the time and the magic of the time.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
as with my campaigns, it's fairly low level.
Yeah.
When you reach stuff, but there's still people able to do it. They're just rare.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a mage is not going to teleport to Hound's Head to just give everybody the news unless there's a reason. Kind of thing.
Yep.
So I do try to keep that in mind. That's why it's so difficult for like different. You guys are almost in a points of light situation.
Yeah.
Where you're like one little dot in a sea of darkness where you're at.
Yeah.
And that. And then what the heck do I do next? I guess the first thing I started doing is like, now we're getting down to the campaign thing. Then I just start seeing what the players want to play.
Okay, class-wise and race-wise and character-wise.
Yeah, because what I'll do, like you did, like, I mean, I know you're very against backstory and whatnot, and I don't want a lot, but I like you to bring your idea to me. So you bring in Snicker. Okay.
Yeah.
What do you want to do with him? Okay. I want to do your whole Snicker build was around the shovel.
A fucking shovel. That's all it was. There was
fucking shovel. Yeah.
It was on Facebook at the time. The shovel. It was like the Rambo knife of shovels. And I'm like, I'm gonna have a gnome with a shovel. The gnome was the mess with Matt, and the shovel was just because. And I just created that.
Yeah, and then as the game developed, we kind of made up a makeshift system to kind of go along with your shovel and your scavenging system. We just kind of worked out but we did that together. I didn't do that all on my own. You and I talked about it, and it fit pretty well. Made sense for us. I mean, who else do you know has a shovel building subsystem?
No, no. There was me. I'm a weirdo. I get it.
But it was fun to do that stuff. But the other thing, just so
if you want to see, by the way, there you go. There's Snickle with the shovel. I literally grabbed a picture of the shovel off of like whatever Instagram
probably
spam
some prepper
thing, and then I found a gnome with goggles, and I just superimposed. It took me 9 hours to superimpose the image of a shovel into this fucker's hands. That's the level of my Photoshop type skill. All right, so I finally got it. I'm like, this is my character, Tim, right here. That was it. That was the shovel.
But then I do that zine for you.
Yes, you did. You did.
So why I like doing that is because I like taking because like I said, I didn't have a gnomes before in my campaign. I'm like, where the fuck am I going to fit a gnome?
Yeah.
I'm just kind of noodling it around, trying to figure some stuff out. And then as I started writing that, so what I like to do is when someone comes into my campaign, I like to give them like a few pages of knowledge that you would have because you've been living here.
Not like me in 60 pages. But a few.
No, not 60 pages. Yeah, just a few. And then I give you the information about the gods.
There it is.
Right there.
The Goranth Gnome's Guide to the Comor Forest.
Yeah, so go ahead and scroll through a little bit.
He has no shovel, but he's okay. That's all right.
He's got a little handpick there. And
he does. A little vice in there, right?
Yeah.
And then he got an overview. Gnomes, what they are. Because before this, you had not done gnomes in your campaign setting, remember?
No, and I didn't even think of gnomes.
Yeah. So you had to create. What are they? Where do they come from? What's their homeland? What's their religion?
Right.
I like this.
Like I said, it forces me to
look at that. You grabbed the old art out of there, dude. Right? That's
I don't. Like I said, I googled it. Is that from?
It's from something. I think it's from second edition. Something.
Yeah.
And I forget which. Anybody in the chat who knows what the hell that's from, let us know. That's kind of cool. Yeah. And then you got the gods. You created the gods.
Yeah. And then the gods was an interesting one because I'm thinking, what kind of gods would they, kind of be? Because gods are very important in my campaign.
They are. Yeah.
They are definitely a, what do you call it? A big.
They move and shake the world, right?
They do. They're definitely involved.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. And what's the longest you've played the same character in an RPG game? Legitimate question. Boy, what is it? What's yours, Joe?
God, I don't know. I'm more of a forever DM, right? I mean, but if you go back to our high school and early college days, my brother and I, we got to 30th level, but that wasn't legit in any sense of the word. It was the 15-year-old.
Yeah, right? I get it. Yeah, the superpower. I get that.
It was bullshit. It was back when the DM played a character because you couldn't find enough players. So, did he get there legit? No. We were 16, man. It was wish fulfillment. You know what I mean? It was, you had a 500-foot tower. sometimes a cigar is not just a cigar, right? So, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that. So, yeah. Was there any bandanas tied around it on any certain floor?
Not around the tower, but no. I didn't know the bandana code back then. But yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But,
so how long was that? Like, how long do you think you ran your guy?
Years. I mean, but it was on and off, and he made an appearance. Right. They made an appearance in the second edition campaign with the college group. It was legit. And after that, I'm more of a forever DM. I'm not a good player,
Would Snickle be one of your longest run guys?
Yeah, actually. I mean, in terms of how do you judge long? How high did he get in level, or how long did you play him?
No, over just how long you played him. I think he's asking. I don't think it means level.
Yeah, Snickle's probably over. What did we play Snickle? If you had to say, Tim, 18 months.
Well, no, because there was the initial one we ran for about 6 months.
Okay.
And then we had a year-long one.
Yeah.
Was that a year? No. Then it was the summer-long one with the Scorn. So that's 9 months. And then we did a year-long one. And then you're about to hit, chapter 4 with him.
Can't wait.
Right there, 1 year. So a year and 9 months with Snickle.
All right, a little over a year and a half. Yeah, almost 2 years. So yeah, I mean that's it. And now I've been running my brother, I don't know, a little over a year with a character, but two of them died, or I had to retire him because of whatever. I got a new one, and he's been playing with him for close to a year. It's hard to tell.
But you guys have every other week games, though, right?
We do. That's hard to because we don't play every week,
Because with us, we played every week.
Yeah, we did. We did every.
So we
Monday
probably got
Tuesday.
Yeah. And then I think the longest character I ever played was back in the 90s. I remember we were playing using GURPS. I think it was 3rd edition, 2nd edition, 3rd edition, somewhere along those lines. And Rob Conley was running the game, and I had this character called Draco Lindis. And and he started off as his story arc, or his camp, was really fun. It was an interesting one because there was 3 parts to it. So the first part of it was me just being a mercenary leader and just kind of surviving. Actually, I was this foreign guy who's integrated himself into a culture that kind of enslaved my kind of culture. That's how it started. And that's actually what we were, we started off as slavers and everything. So we would go raid we call them Canadians, but Rob's things, the Vikings.
Yeah.
Canadians and Vikings and stuff. So we would go raid their land and bring back the Canadians to sell and everything. And then something shifted, and then I became, and I actually like rebelled against the nobility there first. I can't remember the thing. And so that took on a whole different leg of the tour, where I ended up on the other side of the continent because I had taken a duke for ransom and all this. And then the last part of it was me being a world shaker kind of thing. As I started emulating or taking or like bringing in an old legend, and I became the person that it was. But it happened really organically. It was really nice. It was a lot of fun. Didn't feel forced at all. I want to say that was probably 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say about 3 years, and we did have breaks in between there.
Yeah, you always have the summer, the holidays. Yeah, we always have.
But it was fun. I mean, Rob ran a really good game there. Yeah. And GURPS was really good system to use for that kind of campaign at the time. Yeah. Like D&D wouldn't have worked for that campaign. Just GURPS just sort of fit it better. So yeah, I still think that's probably one of the best and the longest campaigns that I ever ran through.
I wouldn't mind a GURPS short. I mean, by short, I mean like a month or 2 months, 6 or 8 sessions kind of a GURPS campaign, just because I want to play GURPS once before I die. Bucket list kind of system, right? Same thing with Pendragon and Thieves World. I'm going to try every little bit, and GURPS, a little bit of everything.
I'll give you my take on GURPS. There's a reason why I don't play GURPS anymore, because I really like 3rd edition, even though it had its issues like any type of system or edition. When they made 4th edition GURPS, it's almost like fifth edition D&D. It's like you come in
homogenized vitamin D&D.
Well, it's just you start out so powerful.
Oh, okay.
My favorite thing with GURPS third edition was they had 100-point builds, and then you took like I think it was 45 points up to 45 points of disadvantages on a 100-point build. But I didn't even, I like starting off as a 75-point build or even a 50-point build, because what was cool about that, you started off as basically a peasant. I mean, you didn't really have a lot of power with that. And it was so much fun trying to figure out how to survive with a 50-point character in an adventure.
Yeah.
Definitely made it challenging. So if I could run you a nice short camp, little, even just an adventure through GURPS, but I would be using the third edition and not the fourth edition.
I think that's what I have anyway. On your advisement back when I was purchasing all that shit, I bought the good GURPS stuff, the basics.
I see
Compendium
right
1 and
there,
2.
that box right there. That's got the first and second edition in it.
Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't mind giving it a shot. I mean,
and then I got the third and fourth edition. It's on the bottom shelf, but I have a lot of those things too. But I mean, I guess it's a fun system. But like I said, it does have combats. If you got two people in plate mail battling each other, you better go pee before you start. You might even want to get some food and something to drink.
Speaking of taking a leak, I'll be right back, Tim. Continue. So once you have the pamphlet, then what? I will join you in a second, boys and girls.
And once I have the pamphlet, one of the things I like to do with the players too, is I'll ask them, like, what one special thing do you want to integrate with your character or have? And it kind of depends on the power level I'm going to run with the players. Most of the time, if I'm using OSE or my next campaign, I think is going to be Shadow Dark. It'll probably be a little bit more granular on what degree I give, to give them. Like Joe, his big thing is he wanted to have his gnome have a shovel. Oh, okay. not that difficult to fulfill, but we wanted to make it so he could. I actually wanted it to be able to grow in power as he grew in power. And so we came up with just a simple thing. So every time he gained a level, he could add something to his shovel.
That was nice. All these little bits that you created within the game that were just bonuses. It reminds me actually of Shadow Dark, what they did. When you roll on a table every level, you get a few little bonus things,
Yeah, some random bonuses. Yeah, that's the way Dragon Age and Fantasy Age are too.
Yeah,
You have, a table you roll on, and you get like some little boost and some random thing, which I think they did a good port over. I mean, I don't know if Kelsey knew about that or not, but either way, she did a really nice job with not only using it, but like keeping it reasonable. Because when I first read that, I thought you got to roll on that table every level, and I just thought, oh boy, that's a little much. I mean, I would want to cut that back. And then I actually read it, and it's they do it every other level. That makes perfect sense. Yeah. So sometimes it helps if you read the entire thing.
Yeah, a little bit.
So, what about go ahead.
So you create, the basic as the PCs are developing, what are they going to get above and beyond whatever old school Essentials or Shadow Dark, whatever it is that you're running, right?
Yeah.
You create the bonus stuff, to make the PCs better. I guess the first thing I do after that, after I create, all the things the world background, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I give the players a handout that's much more substantial than yours. 20 pages of house rules. And
it is pretty substantial. Yeah. I need a whole folder on my computer to keep them all in one spot so I don't lose any of the pages.
Yep.
It's like, oh no, I'm missing page 32 and 46.
I hear fuck
shit,
now.
Screwed, damn it.
So I give more substantial. I think I combined the setting of background info with the house rules, but then I took a page out of your book, Tim, and since then I love it, and I've done it in every campaign or even a mini game and then my brother started doing it with his game because he liked it so much. When I started doing it with him, was I do either a 1 or 2 session game with each individual PC,
like a solo adventure.
Solo adventure helps them flesh out their personality. Gives them aspects of the background, gives them contacts, within the community, gives them maybe a little item, something interesting, a link, a clue, whatever it is, a map, something interesting that gives them a reason to be there rather than, okay, 6 new PCs are in the bar and somebody says, help, what are you going to do?
It helps develop a background for them by themselves, their own background, independently of the party.
Exactly. And it's a real background, not something they created because they're fan fiction failures and they want to write a novel about their guy before he's even first level. You know what I mean? It's a whole different story, right? So thank you that Eric was paying attention for once. Yeah.
Oh, your brother just
brother chimed in there for the peanut gallery. Yeah. So yeah, he knows.
Yeah, he definitely knows. Yeah.
I think he's probably catching up because that was a comment from before. So yeah,
that was early.
Yeah, it was a while ago. He's probably on double speed trying to catch up, But yeah, so that's what I'll do is I'll do the mini solo adventure thing for each player, and that took a couple months because 8 players, 1 or 2 sessions,
you had
2 or 3 months,
of different people,
right?
Yeah,
so that took a while to get them going, and by the time we got the group all together, okay, you're all in Parnast or my version of whatever Parnast is.
Right.
And the first guy is like, wait, I'm playing a ranger, and there's no, they forgot all about it, right? So
that's the danger of running solo. Yeah.
You gotta keep it close in time. You can't play every night because you got life, right? So it's, that sort of thing. But yeah, once we get in that, and then they're all at the bar and they're bringing something to the table, right? And then once at that point, you run the first adventure. I try to give it like the first thing I did. You're in the bar and the town is attacked by zombies and ghouls and shit. Everybody comes running out and save me, says the woman. And next thing you know, you're in a fight. Nothing bonds a group better than a big ass fight.
It's great. I mean, I mean, it is fun to do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I had one campaign. I'm not kidding. We all sat down at the table and I said, roll for initiative. I didn't even bother discussing the situation.
No setup.
No, just started it with roll for initiative, and we'll go from there.
That's awesome. Jesus Christ. Let me just back up real quick. We had a question or a comment. Maps, Mike Halloran. Maps, me too, Joe. I use historical images of medieval cities, Boulogne, Orleans, York, Dijon, etc. Mike, the one time I did that, Matt Jackson actually helped me because I didn't have the computer skills to do this. I will share my screen real quick here. By the way, guys, if you ever go back to an old campaign you had, I guess Roll20 will store the campaign somewhere and you have to rejuvenate the goddamn thing. I didn't know that. Yeah, I was like, oh my God, it's deleted. I was trying to pull this up and it was like, error. I'm like, well, no, I had like 1,000 maps and shit in this campaign. This is the 5e game from a million years ago. My brother's salivating now by the time he gets to this because this was his favorite campaign. So we had Silvery Moon, right? And there's a river that runs through it, right? It's on, a river goes through round and around Silvery Moon. So I'm like, well, what kind of town would that be? And so, Tim, I'd like, how about Pittsburgh? Because I know Pittsburgh was that sort of a town back in the day, right? The river kind of ran through it. So what I did was, let me try to find where in the hell is Silvery Moon. What I did here was I pulled up a map of like freaking Pittsburgh, Fort Pitt, 2 rivers coming around it, and this fit what they described in 1795. What the hell Silvery Moon would have looked like? So I broke it out. I said, this is not no illustrial bullshit and all the other stuff from Forgotten Realms. This is what I mean. I changed it all around, right? And so I used this map, and I basically Matt had to put it together for me and splice it or something like that. I don't know what he did.
Matt's good at that stuff.
Yeah, because it was on 2 different pages and images buried in the web page I couldn't get at, so he did it.
Right.
And spliced it together nicely, and there it is. So I just used Pittsburgh. So historical maps, definitely. I mean, this is perfect. 1795. You wouldn't know whether it's 1795 or 1395. All it is a map towns, a little fort.
Oh, absolutely. You got
a fort here right in the corner where it normally would be. That's the benefit of using real historical maps, So, it makes sense. This developed organically because it made sense to develop thus, so this is what I'll use.
Yeah.
So it perfectly worked out. As I just said, ignore the Ohio River, Mogala River, or whatever parts, and Pittsburgh, and what is it called?
Mahagahua.
Huh? Say that 3 times fast.
You said it so much you made me stupid.
You blaming me?
Yeah, I can't believe it. No, I can't even say it now.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, using the thing is, I've never done that. Even though it's a fantastic way to do it.
Yeah.
Did I show you the? Oh, reach
look at
around
this.
number 2 for me.
Oh, reach around. We're gonna reach around, boys and girls. Check this out, my brother.
No,
Whenever you get to this point.
Here, make it.
Okay. We'll do. Let me close this out. Let me taunt my brother first, really quick. You see that Garrick and/or Holraken? This is the last campaign they ever had. Holy Avenger. We had high rolls. We had all kinds of going on. So yeah. So we had a whole shitting thing going on there. Just to taunt my brother when he's watching this, or his salivating this old campaign. Anyway, there you go. All right. So let me highlight you, Tim. Solo layout. There we go.
All right, here we go. So I got this big, giant book.
Nice.
Maps of America. So
all right. Okay.
Kind of like
nice, dude.
old
Nice
style maps.
Yeah.
Filled with them. I got it at a library sale.
Plus, you get a workout just holding the goddamn thing.
I do. Yeah, my right arm's shaking. But yeah, you got different. Just some real. And the reason why I bought it is because when I do some of my maps, I want to use some of the techniques to imitate this kind of style of map and everything. Yeah, so I got this. Believe it or not, I mean, they were giving it away.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were giving it, but you just donated how much you wanted, and so yeah, it was really nice find. So one of these days. Problem is I almost need 2 tables, one for the book by itself, and then one for me to draw on. It's so freaking big.
I know. Yeah, it's good though. I mean, you use historical sources when you can, because you talk about verisimilitude. I can't pronounce that even sober, but it's a stupid ass word. When did it become that word? I think about 8 or 9 years ago, everybody started saying it instead of realistic. Why you got to be pompous and pretentious to say verisimilitude instead of just fucking realism? Like the ultimate example of that is Word It Works, take a shit. Verisimilitude, right there. That's it, right? I mean that's it. Anyway,
you're always asked question.
Yeah. Oh, that's the most important question of the day. So yeah.
Right. No, I get that.
All right. So then you have the group, you have your backgrounds, you have the character development. For me, I'll do the longer write-up, you do the shorter write-up. We have the maps, we have the NPCs, we have the list of names, we have sort of the idea what we want to do. We have the group with a individual solo backgrounds. We bring them all together in the inn or wherever the hell. And then you got the first adventure. What is your first adventure other than roll for initiative? Other than that, that thing. What do you do? What do you try to focus on a certain type style thing, or is it have to fit the world in the time?
No, I just kill him and we start over again.
That's true. Yeah, after all that work, he tries really hard.
Right. Yeah. I just do that lead up to give him hope.
Yeah. You're all sitting in the inn, and an ancient red dragon shows up for breakfast. What do you do?
Exactly.
3d6 in order, baby.
That's right. Yeah. Roll 3d6. Roll it again. Oh man, I died, didn't I? I mean, I just start, try to pick up some of the threads that I picked up from the solo play and start integrating them into group play.
Okay.
And some players will have more of a stronger sense of purpose going on. Like Eric is never going to be an alpha player. He's always more of I'm going to just back up whoever takes lead kind of guy.
And that fits because he loves to play support classes, right? Clerics and bards.
Yeah, he plays clerics and bards.
He wants to be that
guy.
He doesn't want to be the guy who has the main quest on his shoulders.
However, I mean, if you kind of make him the focus, he'll run with it at the same time.
Oh, he will. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And Eric gets into it as soon as there's a tactical situation to deal with. He's like Matt in that regard. I always trusted Matt when I don't know what's army training or natural knack for it. 30 years in the army or some knack that he had. But whenever we were playing together, me and him, whenever there was a tactical situation, I always deferred to his experience, whatever it was. He always knew the right thing to do. So I would defer to him and follow his lead on that. And Eric is like that too. He jumps, he might be looking at something else on his computer, but as soon as we're into like a roll initiative, he's laser focused, and here he is, right? He's
or
looking
if
at the
he's the lead
tactical.
Role playing situation. Remember with
Yes,
the
pottery guy. Yeah, exactly.
I laughed so freaking hard.
I know that was
during that.
Jesus Christ.
But so I'll try to find the guys who are have a pretty strong purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Start leading with them maybe a little bit, and then just seeing where the other guys are going to go. Like when you're running from scoring, your main concern was making sure the kids and Alice
and the kids were safe. Yeah,
were safe and everything.
Yeah,
and then some of the other folks, they kind of saw it and automatically started kind of helping you out. And
it was fun. There was an in-character conflict, Tim. Remember, I hadn't played with Rob really. This might have been the first time I've ever played with Rob. And I didn't realize Rob was always
Rob as a player.
What's that?
I said there's always a conflict issue with Rob as a player.
I mean, I'm not Dwayne, but yeah, I mean, there is that. But I remember Rob was, whatever the hell class he was playing, and fighter, I think, I forget, and merchant or something, right? But the bottom line was that Rob didn't have the depth of in the campaign. It was his first character in the campaign, and I already had the depth of Alice.
No, he had a campaign in there.
Did he? I didn't. It wasn't with me then. Okay.
No, it was before that.
Yeah. It was before that. So he brought in his character. So we all came together in this burning of scorn, and they're all like, "We must defeat and kill the bad guy." And I'm like,
and you remember he was with the burning of scorn too.
It was, that's what I mean. That's where the conflict came, because he was in the burning of scorn, and I'm like, I gotta run to the slums and get this lady.
You're talking about that one. Okay.
Yeah. I'm like, I gotta get this lady and her 4 kids or 8 kids, or whatever the hell this woman had. And so he's like, the world is burning, blah blah blah. Fight the evil. I said, no, I'm not doing that. I'm going because for all this shit that's burning, this is why we fight, is for these people. I'm going to get her ass out of here and her kids. And that was like, I remember it was a definite, I was in character. It was kind of fun. It felt like a little, like an Al Pacino kind of, what is it? What is that style of acting? The hell is it called? Method acting kind of a moment. I was in it right then. I was like, fuck you.
Yeah,
I'm going to get the bitch.
You guys were in it.
That was fun. And I didn't realize he was into it. I thought he was talking out of character. He's like, but he was in character, basically saying, you're a fucking asshole. I'm like, fuck you. And I'm going to get the bitch. And it was like, it was kind of fun. It was kind of fun. It was my first interaction as a PC to PC with him, in role playing. It was kind of nice. It made for a good tension, and so, and afterwards I grabbed her, I got her out, and they helped me get her over the wall, and we all escaped to Hound's Head. That was a good time. That was a good time. Yeah. Perfect. Mike Halloran, perfect system, Joe. What does that mean? Which perfect system? Not sure what you're talking about there, Mike.
I think the solo piece.
Oh, the side session stuff. Yeah,
and then working him into the group. I think that's what he's talking about. Yeah.
So, Tim, do you have your side sessions? Do you know what story you're going to tell in them and how it's going to relate to the greater story of the world that's going on, the region, or the town? Or do you let something emerge there that then later affects the story of the world, region, or town?
That's more my style. I like to just kind of introduce you to the world, introduce you to, like when we worked on, basically we worked on your work day. We worked on what it was like, life, a day in the life of Snickle.
The sewer worker with his shovel of wonder. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's what we kind of worked on. And if you think about it, you weren't an adventurer for you were just a working class guy kind of, but then events or stuff happened. Unfortunate events would happen. So, because there's 2 different ways you can run a campaign. And a lot of campaigns are reactive campaigns.
Yeah.
Something happens, the players go out and save the day.
Yeah.
Oh, he's talking about the maps, Joe.
Oh, okay, the Pittsburgh thing and all that. Yeah, that makes sense.
And then you have the what is it called? The progressive or kind of so the proactive, or which is a little bit more rare, but still there. So that means the players are making things happen.
Yeah.
What a perfect symmetry to that is like you've got a little give and take on both.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Because I mean, I think it's a good idea to develop your world, but I also think when you're doing that, the bad guys aren't going to always know or whatever. Because sometimes my bad guys are dumbasses, and
Yeah.
sometimes your actions force the dumbasses to do something that they don't want to do,
Yep.
and you become the antagonist to them. And I like that. I like the players having maybe the one up on a situation instead of the players just always playing on the home field of the bad guy.
Yeah.
Because you're always going into dungeons. You're always trying to I want to beat up the Baron because he's sending troops or taking too much money away from us, kind of thing. Where you could like mess with the tax collector, and at the bar, the tax collector there, and then you just start talking shit about his girlfriend that of. You only know her name, but you just start talking shit about his girlfriend, saying how she's banging the captain of the guard, and now all he's worried about, he wants to go back to scoring because now he's worried about his girlfriend. Just little details like that just make it a lot of fun. So I try to work it out and give the players the opportunity to do that, because as we played, even though you were Snickle, you did some things that really put things into play. Sometimes it cost you.
Yeah.
There's a damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of situations a lot, and especially in my game. But when you get there, like when you were killing all the Serath guards. You kind of took it upon yourself, and all of a sudden you had the ability to change. I mean, in a way, you kind of changed a lot. You made a lot of wheels go around. You became the antagonist at that point when you started doing that. I mean, there's consequences, of course, to it.
Yeah.
But it was a really cool moment. You're just this little gnome, but you're making gods take notice.
Did I?
Yeah, don't you remember? Serath came and knocked on your forehead.
God, that's right. Yeah. God, yeah, that's true. Shit.
And then remember who you made the deal with was the hag.
Yes, so that was scary. For the plague and all that. That was
yeah, but here
scary.
you are making a deal with a hag.
Yeah.
And then gaining the attention of a god because of your actions. And they might seem kind of minuscule in some ways, but in other ways it definitely changed the flow of power or attention, or just by your act that you were just trying to do for a little girl.
Yeah. Trying to save her life from the plague, basically. Yeah.
I mean, that's the kind of storytelling I really, really enjoy doing. I don't want to call it storytelling. Those are the adventures or the scenarios I like developing.
I agree. I know what you're saying. I think the reactive to me is when the world story, the region story, the town story, whatever it is, or all the little stories that are going on around, regardless of the characters, that is the reactive part, is when those stories bleed into and over onto the characters, the PCs in the game, right?
Yeah.
Then you got to kind of react to that shit. That's why you need those sorts of things, right?
Absolutely.
Because no group is going to be completely proactive. Most groups lend themselves to the side of reactive, or they will follow the breadcrumb trail to the next dungeon. They don't give a shit, right? So if you got a good group that's proactive and you have a good story that's going on of the world, the historical story of the world, the history, the region, all that kind of shit, then you have the best of both worlds. You have the reactive bleeding over, so the characters have to react to what is going on around them because the barbarians invaded or whatever the hell it is, right? Or the doom grinder clicked and something happens, right? And then you have the characters with the motivation, which I think the motivation comes a lot from the backstory adventures, not the backstory they write, but the backstory adventures, right? And they have goals that they want their PCs to achieve. Some characters, they just want to go along for the ride, play the game, perk up when something's going on, you know what I mean? Or if it interests them or something like that. And that's fine too. I think a good group is going to be a blend of all those characters, because if everybody's going to be the alpha leader, it's not going to work. If nobody's going to be a protagonist, it's not going to work. So, you know what I mean? If somebody's can be the goofball, the comic, the weirdo. That's fun. You need the the proactive character. That's cool. You know, the weird dude with the mysterious backstory is kind of neat.
Right.
The people
There's
who
always a
perk
weird
up,
dude, yeah.
yeah, the people who perk up. Shane running around grabbing bags of stone dicks. You know, remember the, stuff like that. You know what I mean?
And making them into a weapon, yes.
Into a weapon. He's swinging a bag of rough rock dicks and then hitting people in the head with it, right? It's like
true story. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the fun stuff. You need everybody. You need a balanced group. By balanced group, I'm not talking about a fighter, cleric, thief, and wizard.
No.
You need the bag of dick swingers. You need the fucking. You know what I mean? You need the.
I guess
that
the
alpha leader.
Now. Yeah, the bag of dick swingers. Yeah.
So that's it. They weren't gnome dicks. They were like big dicks. So it was a lethal way. It was a D8 bag of dicks, not a D3 or D4 bag of dicks, right? So it was so you just run around with a bag of dicks hitting people, right? So. That's the kind of thing you need. You need to have the fun. If you have too much of one thing, you're not going to have a good group. Too many protagonists, too many dick swingers.
Well, that's where it goes in. I think to picking your trying to have a group. Comes to that again.
It's like a dinner party. I don't do dinner parties. I just have supper with friends. But the fancy rich people, they do these dinner parties, or they try to get an eclectic group of people together who they think would make an interesting mix of conversationalists for the appetizers, hors d'oeuvres, and cocktails. And that's not my style, but I've been to a few and I get it, right? They just want a pretentious bullshit thing. You want to, in D&D, you want to form a good dinner party of interesting people that would mix well together, right? And so the play style of these people, what kind of PCs they're going to do. I know you're always going to think, my fighter has a 4 strength. That's fucking awesome. That's you,
I know what I mean? I love playing what I roll. Because I like being surprised too.
Yeah. Exactly. My guy's got a 9 intelligence. Oh, he's brilliant. That's you. So yeah. That's the fun stuff. So you get a good group of players together. You got a nice mix, and then you let them play. You let them go. Right.
Yeah,
So
that's how you start a campaign. You build a campaign.
Yep.
And then just I think for me one of the most important things is just trying to be flexible enough to allow the players to influence the game.
Yes.
Also in their own way, and because even though you have an idea of things or whatever, everybody knows that nothing's gonna, every what is it? Something like every plan is
no plan survives first encounter with the enemy. Yeah.
Exactly, and that's kind of way GMing is all the time. So, but I guess, and I really enjoy when my players do influence or grow my campaign, or in some cases, burn it down.
Yeah,
I don't mind that. I
don't either.
It's a sandbox where you can kick it. I wrote. It's funny. I wrote this one in an adventure years and years ago called the Tower of the the Mind Zombies, and it was meant to be this like cartoony, over the top pulp kind of adventure. And one of the lines that I added into that, like the beginning of the adventure, what I wrote something along the lines is, everything in this adventure is meant to be destroyed.
All right.
And it's, if you're not afraid to kick down the castle, then you can pretty much do anything. If you're not afraid to kick over the piles and be able to roll with that, because some people build them up. When you build a city, it takes so much time, and do you want to wreck one?
I know.
Because it takes so much work. But the cool thing is, because I allowed that to happen, or it's not that I allowed that to happen. Actually, it was on you guys. The funny thing is, Joe, is like pretty much every campaign that Snickel's been in, while he's won some battles, he's never won the war in any of them.
No. Yeah. I just survive it. I'm like the
you survivor.
Yeah.
But it's allowed me to develop my campaign in a way I never expected, because now Scorn's burnt. It had some political machinations that took part that I didn't even think about. And now I have this kind of reason why it happened. I didn't have any reason. I just had a situation where it was basically a clock, because I knew this was going to be a short campaign. and so I had a clock mechanism with the summoning of the demon pigs. I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but it was fun.
It was fun.
Yeah.
Thank God for those medallions of holy shit. Give me another roll, please. Whatever the hell you call those things. Remember? I don't think I would have lived without
just bless amulets.
Bless amulets. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a GURPS invention where you basically you got plus. You basically, if something would have killed you, they explode and it doesn't, whatever blow that was going to kill you doesn't happen because the bless goes off. It's just basically a mulligan almost. You know,
it's a freebie.
You get a
luck roll.
Freebie.
It's a luck point or whatever the hell.
But it's only one thing, and that's it. And then
it's gone.
It's gone.
It's
not. So.
Yeah, I've introduced them in this world, but I haven't I in my head I have, and not in the game itself. But they're also there. I kind of like that mechanic, you know. So that's pretty good. So I guess after that, it's off to the races. You let the players play. You see what happens. Don't be scared to break the world.
In your sandbox and let them go.
Yep. Tim, remember when we talked about doing this Monday show and it's going to be an hour long because we both got to work the next day?
Yeah.
Remember that?
Gone to the shit.
Yeah, completely.
So far.
Completely gone to shit. Yeah. But we did get the whole topic out. You know, we did get the whole topic out. So
absolutely.
Yeah, you guys have any?
I got an idea though for next show. So we'll have it set up.
Okay.
See what the folks that are listening, if anybody's still awake. Oh, we just dropped 2 people. Yeah.
Yeah, we lost them. Dropping like flies.
That's what happens and everything. I want to maybe next week. Let's try to build like a introductory adventure.
Oh, really?
For a solo play for one character.
All right.
A one-on-one thing, and we build it around like we'll have to like make the character ahead of time, so we're not doing that within the thing. But we'll use a sample character, and then we'll build like a session or like a one-shot adventures session.
Am I going to be the player or are you?
No. We're going to both be GMs and we're going to thrash and thrash it out.
Okay. And then, all right. Okay. I got you.
Yeah. So that way we can integrate what, our 2 different styles are kind of.
Yeah.
Like.
Interesting. I like that.
And it might be a interesting, experiment because I've never done that before.
I agree because based on what we're talking about, that comes after a ridiculous amount of prep on my side, whereas on your side it wouldn't come after that much prep at all. So my point is going to be, well, how do you make this adventure without knowing 6,000 other things first? And your point is like, you just make the fucking adventure, asshole. You know? Yeah. So that's good. All right, that'd be cool then. That'd be cool, guys. And if you guys ever have any ideas, all you guys who are listening, we always respond to the comments, right? So please post them.
We love having everybody be included and participate. I mean, we're not that big of a show where we have
yet
1,000 comments. I see some of those people doing the live stream. I don't know how the hell they keep track of the comments.
They don't. They got 20,000 people watching a live stream in one some of these shows. Like Critical Drinker, Nerdrotic, they literally have like 20,000 people. I'm like, how the hell?
I would feel like I would be sitting there trying to read that. No, that would be. I'm like, I can't.
They only read the super chats. That's all they because somebody gives you $5 or $10, you're going to read their comment, right? And they respond to it.
Okay.
That's all they do is read.
I forgot the super chat, but I saw something. And they fly by pretty quick too.
But they'll stick around for a bit depending how long it is. But then after they don't get to all the super chats, what they'll do is they will go back and do a session of an hour and a half just responding to super chats they didn't even address. But just like the Critical Drinkers, it's a panel of 6 people, just him talking about it. So I dream of someday being greater than the Critical Drinker and maybe being on his show. Right.
There's an interesting question here by Esoteric Order of Nerdity. Any thoughts on including science fiction in D&D to make a sweet science fantasy? Is that melange?
Melange.
I think that's one of those French words. Greg always makes fun of me that
is that in the back? Is that one of those Gygax words in the back of the fucking DMG?
The purple prose type things. I think it's actually just a word. We just don't know it.
No, we're idiots. Yeah. So
pretty much. Yeah. That's a good.
Melange. It sounds like a dessert, doesn't it? Lemon and melange pie. Yeah. I'm looking at the AD&D for you glossary.
Science fiction. I don't like science fiction in my fantasy,
Mm.
but I really like fantasy in my science fiction, if that makes sense.
Mm.
Like I love Dune with its mysticism and its like fantasy feel to it.
Yeah.
But like when they did what was it, S3 Expedition to the Barrier Peaks
Barrier
where they
Peaks and
used
all the spaceship shit.
laser stuff.
Yeah.
It seemed like it. I just didn't like it. Everybody just was carrying around laser pistols then.
Yeah. Why have a sword if you
know?
could blow them away with a blaster?
I mean, it did. I mean, it didn't do. It didn't unbalance the game, so to speak, because
Yeah.
it didn't really do much more damage than the sword. But I don't know. I just like. Oh, I don't know. I lost my suspension of disbelief. Once that started happening. But if you had magic in the science fiction, I'm all for it. So I don't know. I've always been kind of like that. Yeah.
For me, I don't like sci-fi games anyway, period. Right. I did Greg's
Right.
Alien thing because I want to try stuff, right? I know I
Yeah.
don't like it, but I want to try it once just to put it check it off the bucket list, right? I tried
Right.
Traveler, or I want to try Traveler original one day. I want to try GURPS one day. I want to try your Pendragon. These are all, so I tried the Alien game Greg ran. Not a fan of it.
Right.
This, I like the game. I like Greg's DMing. It was a cool adventure. I enjoyed that, but I'm not a fan of sci-fi in general. So I don't like to
Right.
do it. I've incorporated it into one game and I regretted it because it was stupid and it broke the theme of fantasy sword and sorcery in my head that I wanted to have. And I just like, what did I do that for? And I guess I had some of it in the latter 5e campaign, but very little, and it didn't take a grand place. And it was more like this complicated thing, and you hit the button and it blew shit up. They didn't know anything, right? There weren't laser guns people running around. There were actually Crabmen and some laser guns. I stole it from Talanian's thing. But that was a quick thing too, right? A little thing. But again, it was just tiny. It wasn't a mixture, right? However, back in the Flail Snails days, Flail Snails were a bunch of old school OSR guys in the blogger days were running games in each other's campaigns and worlds, and you bring a character like the old D&D days of yesteryear of the 70s, and you dropped your character into this world and dropped your character in that world, and you moved them. Sir the Fist of Uther moved from this game to that game to this game to that game. Some of them had shotguns, some of them had giant chicken T-Rexes.
Oh,
some of them had laser pistols.
Was Gonzo game.
It was Gonzo. It was fun, but Gonzo. And I'm not a Gonzo guy, but I loved playing with all those different DMs and all those different players. Dozens and dozens of different players and a couple dozen DMs, and it was just a great time because I learned so much by doing it about different styles of doing it. And so what you had to have was the DM had to make a rule that even though compared to a pistol or compared to a dagger, a double barrel shotgun is going to fucking do 10 times the damage, right? We had to scale it back so that the double barrel shotgun would be the thing of choice. You're not going to always take the
stormtrooper. The god of death with a shotgun.
Yeah. You're not taking the BFG 9000 in Doom 2 terms. You know what I mean? It was there, but it wasn't going to do D 3000 damage, right? So so we had to scale it back. But it was interesting. But I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't mix them in my games. I wouldn't do that. Yeah, a long explanation there. Yeah, but you said something before about stumping. You like when the players break the world and stump you and throw you for a loop and all that. I never had more of that back in the early 2010s, I don't know, 9, 10, 11, and I was running Lamentations, and my choice where we could play with a bunch of guys from around the state. The common area was a Moe's Bar and Grill in New Haven, Connecticut. And we got there at 10 a.m. because although they were open, they had just opened. It only comes in until about 1 for lunch, right? On a Sunday. It was a perfect place. We could drop 3 hours in there. And I remember my players would stump me. They were good, and they would fuck with my head. I'm like, because it was Moe's, I would always have a proper justification for I got to go take a shit, right? And it's because it's Moe's. Who doesn't have? You're at a burrito place, right? Nobody's going to question.
No one's going to question that logic. No.
Sometimes I had to take a shit. Sometimes I didn't have to take a shit. But the bottom line was I'm in there for the duration of a shit, trying to think about how the fuck do I get out of this mess they threw me in, right? But on the way to the shitter, Moe's they sold margaritas. So I would order a double margarita, go take a crap or pretend to, come out, down the margarita, sit down at the table, and then I would hopefully have a solution, right? If not, I'd pull something out of my ass. No pun intended. So that was it. So anyway, on that shitty story,
I was going to say it starts with lesbians and ends with poop.
Yeah, that's a perfect a live show. I think really you can't get much better than that.
I don't know.
It worked out well. Yeah. So next session we will next session. Jesus, next time you show next Monday, we will have a. We will both develop jointly a dungeon, which should be interesting.
Yeah. Well, it'll be an adventure. We don't know if it'll be a dungeon or not.
Yeah, an adventure of some sort. Yeah. It's an adventure of some sort. Hey, we're up to 13 again, so we gained some people. Yeah. Shit always brings people out.
I know, it's weird. It's weird. It does.
Yeah. Everybody shits, dude. It's that poo. Everybody poops is that child's.
You don't have to tell me because where I work at, I mean, we found it by the water fountain today. So,
Are you serious? You found a pile of shit by the water fountain?
Yes. Well, not in a pile, just like one lone
little lone
one little doggy on the prairie.
Little turd just hanging around, little floater on the carpet. Yeah.
My coworker, what is that? I said, that, my friend, is a turd.
Oh God.
Yeah.
I worked in a bad place. I don't have to deal with shit in the hallway.
I literally do. Yeah. Sometimes.
It's a shitty job.
Yeah. God. Oh man, esoteric. You keep on asking good questions. What edition of esoteric? I've been using Old School Essentials for probably the past 5 years. But now that Shadow Dark's coming had been released, and we got the fulfillment. I'm moving into Shadow Dark right now. I haven't GM'd it yet, so I'm kind of curious to see how it plays.
Am I converting Snickle to Shadow Dark, Tim?
No. This one is definitely. I'm going to stick with Old School Essentials, and we'll just stay with that one. And we'll go from there.
Is the Snickle thing going to be with just Snickle, or are other people going to join in? You can have a campaign.
Well, it'll be with Snickle, but Ken might join.
Oh, that's fantastic! I love playing with.
Yeah, because I think you two would be a great like what do you call it? A buddy campaign. Kind of thing, kind of a buddy situation. So I think
lethal weapon sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I think you'd probably be more what's his name, Danny Glover's character.
The Danny Glover, I'm getting too old for this shit. That's totally Snickle. That is totally Snickle. I just want to sit here and tinker, damn it. Oh God, roll an insight check. Tim, I think he meant Tim. I think he means Tim.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I have much insight, but the way I roll, there's no insight in this person at all. So
I love the Esoteric Order of Nerdity. That's a great goddamn name there, dude. That's
it is
fantastic. That's fantastic. That's like a offshoot of the Masons, isn't it?
And then you got you could shorten it to Eon.
Yeah, Eon. I love it. That's awesome.
Yeah,
trademark that shit, man.
Yeah.
I'm not using
Mike wants to play Shadow Dark. Yeah, I do too. Okay. We've only did some couple sessions as a player in it, but I want to. The last couple micro adventures I made were Shadow Dark, and then this past one was my first NPC card with Shadow Dark. But
Professor Dungeon Master, this is a tiny topic before we head out. He did a video today. I don't know if you saw it, but it was on the most innovative, revolutionary, new blah blah game, and it's you've seen this.
A lot of clickbait titles these days.
He does. He's he has this, and I never heard of this fucking game, Dream Dragon Inn, whatever the hell. And for me, no, it wasn't his game. It was some other game somebody put out. It was Runehammer's game or something. I think.
Runehammer's game. Okay.
Yeah,
I know who he is, but I don't know what the game is.
I don't either, actually, because it was just one of those like whatever. You know what I mean? But I'm thinking to myself, maybe I'm just old. I know I'm old, but maybe I'm just too old because I don't care about innovative RPGs. I don't want a new way to do the thing. I don't want, and it seems to be there's like a whole lot of rules light and breaking the verisimilitude and a whole lot of like simplifying stuff. Like in this game, it's great because you don't have to roll the hit; you just roll damage. What?
Right.
I mean, I don't roll the hit, man. I don't want to change my brain about how RPGs work. And I think that all the trends.
Oh, that's right. He was the index card RPG. That's right.
Yeah. And
I actually have that too. Yeah.
I do. I got a copy somewhere on my hard drive, but I don't want an innovative new way to do the thing I've been doing for 40 years. I will read something like that, and if I could glean one thing out of 300 pages that I could add to my house rules or to my RPG, I'll take it. I'm never, ever going to run a Shadow Dark campaign. I will play in it gladly, and I'll learn the rules and this and that. But for me, it's all about at first house ruling to make it my own. And now I'm like, I got so many goddamn house rules. I'm just going to make my own, period.
Right.
I don't want to play an innovative new game. I think all these innovative new games are shortened and brief and simple and quick because of the attention span of these fucking kids today. You know what I mean? Due to cell phones. I think that's my general summary of the whole fucking thing. They don't have the attention span to learn a big. Could you imagine giving a fucking 15-year-old Gary's AD&D first edition DMG and saying, here, have fun?
Oh, well, even it would have been like us, like, oh God, what the hell do I do this? What am I reading?
What? But we all read it. We all took the time to read it.
Because we didn't have any other choices.
That's
there was nothing else out there. I mean, we didn't have phones. We didn't really have good video games. We were held hostage by, you know, the very infinite amount of choices finite choices. Finite choices we had. I mean, I loved it, and like I was talking earlier in this cast that the old DMG,
boys and girls, we're fading fast.
The old DMG where you could just like open it up still and find new things you've never seen before.
Yes, absolutely.
Or forgot about it. You probably may have read it twice before, but you know, at our age, one of the nice things is old things become new again because we forgot them.
You forget, I mean, but that was the ultimate. The first edition DMG was the ultimate Shaterial book. It was the OG Shaterial book, really.
It was.
I mean,
really was.
And the longer Shaterial book was the Monster Man with the succubus page. I mean, that was the longer shit. Sometimes you bring both in just to end it nicely, you know. So On that note, let's end this nicely.
On that note,
no more shit and whacking off talk, boys and girls. No more lesbian bandana talk.
No.
Anyway, thank you all for listening and watching this long, guys, for our 1 hour show. Appreciate you hanging in there for 2 hours and 21 minutes. We're up to 12 viewers.
Jesus. Yeah.
I know.
No, I appreciate everybody hanging out with us tonight. A lot of fun. So if you remember, come on, hang out with us next week, because what we'll do is we'll do the adventure and then we'll refer to you guys to kind of give us some input or some cues, like
good idea
and everything, so that maybe we can. And if you really want to mess with this, I'll put this out with it here, Joe.
There we go.
If you do a super chat, doesn't even have to be much. We will be forced to put in that thing that you've said that you want entered.
I like that. And the bigger the tip, the more prominent the place it will hold.
So, and plus, and then the nice thing is that because Joe, pays for his bandwidth or whatever, so that way. But it'll just be fun,
that could be cool. Add some ideas. Super chat in there and throw out your idea, and we'll incorporate it somehow. I like that.
We'll figure it out. We'll be forced to figure it out. So. Yep. All right, guys. Good night, everybody.
Thank you all, guys. And I'm going to take a leak, Tim. So shock. But let's end this stream, and I'll go and I'll join you in the green room. Bye, everybody.
Sounds good. Night, everybody.